Hey, welcome.
Welcome one and all to the glorious, triumphant return of Turtle Soup,
That's true.
episode 271. You know what I'm saying? We're
Yep,
back in action.
we are.
Of course, this is Turtle
Indeed.
Soup, the internet, nay, the world's only community-supported podcast dedicated to the ongoing journey of the TMNT, all the way from the very beginning until life finds some combination of misfortune and crap and personal issues to keep me out of the podcast forever, which up to now it
Yeah,
has not been able to do.
right.
So
That's
we're
true.
we're good to go. I
We
may miss
tried.
a month, but we're back. And it
Right, we're
tried,
back.
and it don't matter. You know what I'm
It don't
saying?
matter. It don't matter.
A long time ago, I remember telling a number of Turtletarians
Hmm.
that they could count on me. You know what I'm
That's true.
saying? And that's
You
what I
did.
told them. And it may be a week, it may be a month, but I'll be back. You know
But
what
you'll
I'm
be
saying? And here I am.
and here you are. And here we are. Normally, this is December. You're probably wondering, like, why are we here? Well, that's because, yeah,
Yeah,
like
what's up?
As Ryan said, we had some life happen to us this past November. Like practically as
Yeah.
soon as we finished 270, or was it
Oh
one?
yeah.
What is this? Yeah, 270.
This
And
yeah, it's 270. Yeah.
this I could look at the
Nice
screen and
round
see,
number.
but yeah,
Yep.
exactly. But as soon as that happened, like life just hit us, like blindsided us, and it's
Yeah.
been wild. So we decided that instead of taking our normal December off where we do just a so basically episode as we've done the
Mhm.
last couple years, we're going to try our best during this time where our, a lot of other life events that happen normally and that are expected generally happen. We're going to try to work around that and get some more episodes out this month as opposed to since
Yes.
we, basically
You're
took last month
you're
off.
going to get three. You're going to get this one.
Yes.
You're going to get the
Count
one
them.
on the 16th. So next Thursday, count them. So two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Two.
saying? Eric loves that counting and spelling in songs. So
I do.
like it's happening now. You're going to get the one on the 16th. That's next week. That's 272. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Body count number 3. You know, if you're
Yep.
curious. Uh, then we're going to take the 23rd off because it's the
Oh,
day before Christmas Eve. So
right.
everyone's going to be all
Gotta take that
crazy.
back. True.
But then you're going to get that third, which he has his little finger up for
Whoop,
already.
whoop.
Uh, nope, you're doing 4. You
That's
see,
right. I was on
there's only
4.
going to be 3 this month.
There was this week.
We're
I,
taking
I
20. There's
did I get it mixed
nope.
up? Anyway.
Back it up. You're getting this one.
Okay.
This is
This
extra
one.
December content. You're getting this one. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's already happened.
It already
You're
happened.
getting the 16th. You're getting next Thursday. That's happening.
Yes. Yes.
Now don't put a finger up yet.
Okay, I'm not.
Don't do it because this is
It's
where you got
taking.
screwed up last time. Okay, ready?
See that thumb? It's pushing down really
Yeah,
hard.
it's pushing down because the week after that, the 23rd, is the
Mm-hmm.
day before Christmas Eve. We
Right.
will not be podcasting because people
Right.
will probably be doing a lot of other crap. So we're
That's
not
true.
doing that. So don't put a finger up.
True.
But
It's not
then
up.
get ready for the next finger. On the 30th, we
Ugh,
shall return.
we
You know what
got
I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah.
And on the 30th, it's going to be our So Basically Volume 5. Now, we
That's
are going to do it
5
live,
episodes.
just like a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like this.
Yeah.
We're going to do that So Basically Volume 5 live, but we're very excited because we really want to use, this is going to be our first So Basically since we've been on YouTube. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
So
Oh
we
yeah.
talked a lot about this. We kind of had this in the works for a little bit, but of course life came up, and then we
Mm-hmm.
started talking this week about coming back, and that was one of the first things on the menu. You know what I'm saying? It was like, well, hey, we're doing these extra episodes, kind of in December to kind of make up for November.
Right.
Um, Given we probably would have missed a week in November anyway because of Thanksgiving
It's
is
true.
always on a Thursday, so
Yep.
there goes that. Yeah, so we are excited to make you guys the people that listen to the show, whether it's over the podcast or whether it's live on YouTube or on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube later, make you guys part of Volume 5. So we're gonna put out a list of all the stuff we've covered this year. And if
Yeah.
you're new, so basically is effectively our way of giving people a way in to the podcast because we're 271 and technically 272 episodes if you count episode 0
Oh yeah.
into this journey. And when people see 271 episodes and they go, huh,
Yeah.
they can get blown out because they don't know what's up. So
Mm-hmm.
every year we do an episode called So Basically, where we basically touch on everything we covered that year to
Mm-hmm.
give people some what I guess I call like rungs on the ladder. You
Yeah.
could listen to technically, you could listen to after this episode five episodes of the podcast and be
Mm-hmm.
caught up with
Yeah.
that next year. So we're going to be covering everything that we covered this year, just glazing over it. But what we really want is your opinion on things. Things that we did this year. This year saw a lot. I mean, we ended the animated series this year. I think that was probably one of the biggest things we did.
Monumental.
You know, we reviewed a lot of figures. We did a lot of stuff. So we're going to be releasing a list of what we did on the Facebook group. And we'll also probably be talking about it on the show. And we want your opinion. So email us at turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. Leave comments on this video or any video after, and we'll add those to the mix, because we definitely want to read some off. And the big thing is, we really want to incorporate live chat into So Basically as well.
Yeah.
So on the 30th, that Thursday, December 30th, like we want y'all in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Because like while we're doing it, we're gonna be like reading chat too. So if you have any thoughts, like you didn't put into an email, you didn't think about it in a comment, but you're watching the show live and you're like, oh, okay, I got this to say about the end of the animated series. You throw it in the chat, we'll read it, and that's part of making you guys a big part of the So Basically, because it's kind of like, it's maybe instead of us helping give those new listeners like a hand up, like all of us, you know what I'm saying? Like you can literally count on us, like Turtle Soup and the Turtletarians that have been in here, like in the grind, like giving them a help up. It's like a million helping hands. You know what I'm saying?
That's we call this family. You know what I'm saying?
We call this family. So that's kind of what we're doing. So so be on the lookout for that for sure. I guess other quick announcements is the Turtles Come Out and Fight That contest video is still happening. You know what I'm saying? Obviously we got delayed a month because you know, things. But we're doing that. We got a lot of great entries. We're kind of having to pare some down. Just to make sure that the video is a proper length, and that's going to be its own separate release video, which we'll obviously announce when we release it, and kind of who won that. I think that's about it for the announcements. I mean, there's an announcement we do every week that's really important, and it's what we call out two badass patrons. You know what I'm saying? To say their name. You know what I'm saying? True. And this week it couldn't be a better combination of Turtletarians, Noah Overton and Ryan Bolton. You know what I'm saying? You guys make the world go around.
Two of the best.
Like, I sit and we do live stream, and I look at my mic and my headphones I'm wearing and my lights and my stuff, and I go like, I literally could not have done this without patrons. So it's all there. Like Eric's hair. Like you guys didn't know this. I'll just pull the curtain back on that. That's a wig, and you guys paid for it. Yeah. So there's that. You know, like I lost my beard in a bizarre gardening accident, and you guys helped me get beard plugs for my beard. That was a thing.
That was a thing.
So we love you guys, and if you're interested in becoming a patron, you know, it can be for a very low price a month. Just go to patreon.com and look see if we're making a podcast, Turtle Soup Podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Check us out. So speaking of checking it out, what are we checking out this week on the show? You know what I'm saying? Where are we at in the journey this week, Eric?
In the journey, we're going all the way back, Ryan, to the year of 1996 and the mid-90s, if you will. Tons of stuff happening that year, but most importantly to us and for our purposes, the second issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, more specifically Casey Jones and Raphael's body count that was put out by Image Comics at this point.
Yes.
They finally released issue number 2 of this book, and we're going to be taking a look at that issue and see what it's all about. We're going to do So Basically in a little bit on it, so if this is your first episode, don't worry about it, we'll catch you up.
Yeah, we'll get you. Luckily, the So Basically on the storyline's not too crazy, so
no, it's not.
It'll be good.
But it'll be fun. And then and we've got some news coming up here in a little bit. But yeah. So do we got where are we at now? We are emails? Are we doing emails now?
Yeah, absolutely doing emails. Really fast, because I wanted to clear this up, because I posted it on Facebook. Not everybody's on Facebook, and you hear all this stuff, and we had inquiries about it. So the very quick short story of what happened with me was I had a relative who's very young. Not a child, but an adult, but a very young adult. Go into the hospital suddenly. It was a shock. We didn't know if she would make it out. She was in a coma at one point. She has 2 children, and we were just sitting here just gut destroyed. Like just thinking like, oh, like she just might not wake up. She might not.
Right.
There was a lot, and obviously, this is on my wife's side of the family, and she was very impacted by it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just turned everything upside down. Like we
Yeah.
immediately got into like taking care of kids, like making sure everybody was good. Like she was up there at the hospital. It was crazy. But this relative is doing a ton better.
Mm-hmm.
They are back to work,
Yeah.
doing their thing. Obviously, have a lot to recover from. Still recovering.
Right.
Obviously, in like lifestyle changes as well to keep them healthy. But doing really good, and everything's good over there.
Well, that's great.
And then it was basically the that event plus the fallout from it plus everything
Mm-hmm.
else kind of resulted in basically a month. It was a
Yeah.
month from like day of like uh-oh to like
Mm-hmm.
I'm good, you know. But just so for everyone that was curious about it, because we had some people online asking about it, like they're fine, we're fine, everybody's good.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a very scary situation that played out probably about as fortunately as it could in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is great.
That is awesome.
But yeah, but it definitely like shook us up
Mm-hmm.
from the ground up. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
But we got some emails. You
We
know what I'm
do.
saying? So once again, I want to thank everybody for the outpouring of support and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and obviously the understanding as well. I really wanted to express that on the show before we went further.
Yeah.
Was it's one of those things where like for a while when you're going through something like this, you don't even like I didn't even think about the podcast. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's how bad it was. I was just like what is anything? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I barely made it to work
Right.
when during like the first week of that.
Yeah.
Um, but then obviously the longer things go and you start to realize like, well, I can't do the things
Mm-hmm.
I would normally do, and it's just not possible.
Yeah.
A lot of understanding from everybody, and I really want to thank you guys for that and being really cool with that
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of those things where like I know that like you don't really know me or my family, and you're kind of like yeah, but like my podcast like I'm used to getting that weekly soup, and now like we don't got nothing.
Yeah.
So I understand that could have been frustrating, but I just really want to thank everybody for being really cool about that and all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got all my gratitude out of the way.
Ooh. Okay.
So we have some emails.
Yep.
We will start out with Malik. So Malik sent us a litany of emails
Mm.
while we were off, which is really cool.
Yeah.
One includes a ton of spoilers for stuff we haven't read yet.
Ooh.
So
Got to stay
we're
away
just
from
gonna put
them.
that in we're just gonna put that in the spank bank
Ooh.
because he's got
Lock it
some good
away.
observations. There's good observations about the things that we haven't read yet, but we haven't read them yet.
Right.
Another thing is reminding us to don't forget to cover the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles comics
Yes.
from overseas. Uh,
Yeah.
and we've been talking Cool Uncle with him, so that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
But he did drop this email, which I will read. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, lay it
Uh,
on me.
Turtletarians. One last little detail, because this is like the third email that they sent very quickly. First, want to apologize for multiple emails. You know what, Malik? It's fine. You can write us as many times as you want. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
please
Like
do.
I literally don't care. Like it is. It's when I see a bunch of emails, I'm like, that's awesome,
It's
and
a
that's as far as my
it's a
mind
joy
goes with it.
each time. Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
keep
No,
them
I love
coming.
it.
It's hold on, hold on.
Anyways,
Sorry. Hold on. It's kind of
yeah,
like whenever the waiter comes up and says, "Do you want more cheese?" or "Tell me when to stop with the cheese." And I'm not gonna say no. You stop when you know. So it's kind of like that with your emails. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
want some emails?
It's like
Want some
a
more emails?
surprise me. Want some
Exactly.
more emails? I'm
So
like,
yeah,
oh, that was like us at oh god, what's it called again?
Fazoli's.
Uh, Fazoli's. That was like us at Fazoli's
Oh,
with
with the
like, oh,
breadsticks.
cheese, and we're like, no, when they do the when they do the
Oh, well, like
shredded
I was
cheese
saying. Oh, with the
on
cheese. Yeah, yeah,
cheese, and we're like, sure, and they look at you and you're like,
yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
and they're like, huh? And you go, huh? And you're like, mm-hmm. Yeah, you go, yeah, and then you're like, yeah, hey, you might stop. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, they're like, and they stop immediately. And you're like,
Right.
okay,
Okay.
yeah. No, your emails are the cheese on my chicken Alfredo. I will
Yep.
just continue to ask for more.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the main news I wanted to inform you guys of last month on the 19th of October, voice actor Jack Angel passed away. While
Mm.
some people will remember him as King Zarkon from the original Voltron anime, or Astro Train, Ramjet, Cyclonus, and Omega Supreme from the Transformers Generation 1,
Oh.
you guys might know him as the voice behind our favorite metallic lawman, Rex 1, as well as his evil duplicate, Lex. My sincerest
Dang.
wishes go out to his family and friends and Rex 1, question mark? Hope you're catching bad guys on the other side. Else time
Yes.
dudes Malik. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Definitely rip Jack
Yeah.
Angel.
Man.
Rex One is still one of my favorite characters from that show, and I
Rex
gotta admit, like
1.
a lot of it was Jack's like voice work, man. I mean, like
Oh,
you got if the voice don't get it, I don't care how long his tongue is. I don't care what him and Irma are up to. You know what I'm saying?
jeez.
All
Jeez.
that happens behind the closed door.
It's true.
I need that voice to carry. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Voices carry is all I'm saying.
That
And yeah, and definitely.
yeah.
So it's always unfortunate to see somebody who did such great work pass away.
Yeah, that's
But
rough. Yeah,
yeah,
he was one of my favorite parts of the animated series, like hands down. Every
yeah,
time
absolutely,
Rex 1 showed up, it was a
absolutely,
class act, and
yes,
like so I remember those episodes very fondly because I mean we got a lot of mileage out of them just for comedic value, but
absolutely,
at the same time, you could kind of lose yourself in his voice, like you were saying, because it just did
yeah,
he did such a good job where like it's when voice actors, classics like Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy and
yeah,
stuff like that, all these people,
yeah.
Alan Oppenheimer, yeah, I think that's right, and all these guys when they yeah, I got to specify Alan instead of just Oppenheimer.
I was about
Throwing
to
that
say,
out
like,
there.
okay, like
That's a different thing, but
some of us laughed, some of us cried,
they both are
some of
become
us said
death.
nothing at all.
So,
Yes.
but your boy
Wow.
Skeletor is what I'm trying to say. But
Mm.
they take you out of the cartoon and put you in the imaginative world of this thing
Yeah.
that we're watching, and
Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
trans that. It's one of those things that like whoever to discover, like as soon as talkies were a thing, they probably very quickly realized how good voice actors are and how certain people can enrapture you into this fantasy, and Jack Angel was one of those people that could do that in a show that is just slapstick nonstop and just kind of all
Yeah.
over the place. It was nice to have him for a little bit in there. So
Oh,
Jack,
absolutely.
thank you for
Absolutely.
your work and dedication, and Turtle Soup salutes you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, dude. I mean, just another fallen angel. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, what's
dang,
up?
dang, Ryan.
It's not a joke. Like, seriously. Like, it's like
No,
all good.
I know, but that
I
sounds
think
like
Jack
something I'd
Angel would
say.
appreciate. I think
I
Angel would
yeah,
appreciate that pun.
I
If my name was Jack Angel, I'd appreciate it. You
I
know
do
what I'm
too.
saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's so funny how it took. It takes so many like humans. Like, I always think about this when it comes to like voice acting, especially.
Hmm.
It takes so many humans performing at their A game to bring a cartoon to life. Like,
Yeah.
you could have an animator, like, literally one animator, like,
Hmm.
could make a cartoon by themselves. It would be
Right.
laborious, it'd be wild. But like they
Yeah.
just one person, one man or woman, somebody could do it. But when it comes to like voice talent, like it does take just people. It
Hmm.
just takes a lot of like professionals that do their thing and make it right and
Right.
sell it. And
Yeah.
like everyone who can do that on that level like deserves a ton of praise. And I
Yeah.
don't think they get it very often.
No.
So yeah, Jack Angel, man, much respect.
Yeah.
That's
To that point, like it takes some like two people to make a baby, like a human baby. But think about how many people it takes to make a cartoon. Like a lot more, because it's a lot more. There's a lot more to
oh
a
yeah.
cartoon than people. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah,
just kind
no,
of the
when
takeaway
when
here.
when a bunch of voice actors and some people love each other very much, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they come together and make a cartoon. Uh
That's exactly
so
right.
this second email is from Keith Lane.
Oh,
Image
Keith.
Revolution. You know what I'm saying? Image Revolution, baby. Well, this email is from November 8th. So sorry, Keith. Here
Oh.
we go. Uh, Pre-Thanksgiving's greetings from your America's hometown Plymouth correspondent, Keith Lane.
Oh.
Had to give my ultimate thanks for your weekly soup servings to keep us all entertained. Especially needed these last 2 years as I've been plagued with the myriad of health issues I've been dealing with, but can happily say I'm on the mend for my last surgery and looking forward to a healthy and happy 2022. Well,
That's
Keith,
good.
I'm looking forward to you having a happy and healthy
Likewise.
2022, man. I hate to hear
Yes.
that you've been down with health issues, man. Especially like
Yeah.
2 years of that. That's bad.
It is.
Um, wish you best of luck with whatever you may be dealing with. The result of last week's delayed episode. Well, it was a month actually from the future, Keith. It was going to be a whole month of delayed episodes,
Yep.
and thank you for your patience. And everything's fine now. Um, Anyways, it's so good to be back to the comics. Great episode on body count, and John Klein couldn't have summed it up better, as these issues were a great example of how well Peter and Kevin's combined styles were the result of the great stories from Mirage. When I dove back into the Turtles, I read all the adventures, Mirage and IDW, but always put off the Image run, worried it might be would be too extreme 90s and would be lacking substance.
Yeah.
Having saved the run for last and completing it, I can say I was pleasantly surprised at how much it continued to the continuity of Mirage Volume 1 and 2. It was a very enjoyable read. But don't worry, you'll be in for a healthy dose of extreme 90s style for that nostalgic flavor of your youth.
Nice.
Yeah, we're already getting it. I'm always
Oh, yeah.
I'm already like, wow, this artwork and the
Yeah.
blood and all the stuff. This is like insane. Just had to check in, give my appreciation and excitement for your upcoming dive back into comics. Wish you and your families an amazing holiday season.
Oh,
Else time, Keith. Well, Keith, I wish your family an amazing holiday season.
likewise.
And thank you so much for writing in. And we are really excited to be back to comics, especially getting our toehold into Image. This is like there's like kind of like four pillars, right?
Yeah.
Like of the, well, I guess you'd call it five technically. Like there's five kind of pillars. It's like Mirage 1 and 2, Adventures, Image, IDW. Like kind of like those are the big boys. If
you only if you throw in Tails to under that Mirage.
Tails is in Golden
Mirage
Age
1.
for me.
Yeah, because
Tails is in Mirage 1, like Golden Age era. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
because we've been going back. I don't know. We might talk about this later too, but we've been going back and listening and doing some YouTube stuff for the older episodes and hearing us talk about stuff that happened in Tails back then. I'm very quickly reminded because as time passes, you kind of want to rose-colored glasses everything.
Yeah.
But then you remember, some of that early Mirage was really hard to get through, but then Tails was saving us. So yeah,
dude,
if you combine
Tails gave us the Rat King. Tails gave us Leatherhead.
Nobody.
Tails is nobody. Tails is Tails is a beautiful run.
Oh, it is. It is.
Especially such a short run, but so beautiful.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I typically pull that into that that Golden Age Mirage kind of era. So yeah, there's these whatever big five pillars of comics, and we're through. We're getting into the fourth of it. So you're kind of like, ugh. Yeah, hope you stick around and listen to the reviews, Keith, because I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this.
I agree.
We have a crazy one, but yeah, once again, thanks, Keith, for writing in, obviously, and yeah, happy holidays to you, man.
Yes.
Sorry we were delayed for a month. It just happened.
It just happened.
So that is all of our emails for today. So I guess we have some toy news.
We do.
Should I do some news?
Oh, nice. I was one.
What if I was just Anderson Cooper?
Yeah,
what if during that transition I was just Anderson Cooper here?
Yeah,
not like Ryan dressed up, like just actually Anderson Cooper, like
right
from the CNN studios.
Yeah,
like the backdrop and everything.
That would have been amazing. I was having I had to this is probably what producers go through, like live producers every time. I wasn't sure because it's been so long since we've done the show. I wasn't sure what scene was going to happen next because a lot of this is automated, and I had forgotten that we had this 2-shot, and so I was trying to not look like I was panicked the whole time, and I'm like, all right, let's just roll the dice and see.
Have faith in the you of the past. You know what I'm saying? You hooked your future self up with these frames.
I usually do.
You know what I mean? So
I usually do.
Have faith. It's kind of like have faith in the you of now. But I'm just going to say have faith in the you. I think that literally, is that one of those oblique strategies? I think it is.
It is. I remember you saying that back in the day. Yeah, I was just going to quote you that.
Have faith in the you of now.
Like
hit that on the app, like 9/10 of the oblique strategies, when you see them, you're like, whoa.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
a thing. Sorry.
That's beautiful. Well, thinking about things that are beautiful and that are a thing, Ryan, we have some images of the
we do have some images
of the released box art for the packaging, if you will, for the NECA Universal Monsters Cross Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line that is coming out from, as I said, NECA Toys. And yeah, do you want to? I don't know if you've seen this yet, so I don't know. Are you ready for this?
I peeped a peek. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
One might say.
Okay.
I peeped a little peek on the Facebooks, but I didn't analyze too deep because I figured we'd be covering it. I wanted some left the imagination for the moment.
Of course.
So.
Well, here we go. Let's go back to let's pan over to the studio, the behind the scenes. Let's see here. Here we go.
Ooh, behind the scenes studio.
There we go. Oh yeah, because this is the unfinished back part of the studio. You see the brick in the back and all that. So the wires hanging out.
Oh yeah, all of our networking cables.
Yeah, because we had the blue screen when there was the two screens, where that's our normal news thing. But then
where we're set up. Yeah, this is the back room.
It's kind of a urban kind of look, like a street level look. I kind of like it, but nevertheless, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Raphael as Frankenstein's monster. Holy crap!
Yes.
This looks so good. I am so
excited box
about
does look great. And it's great because it seems like now that you see that, you realize that the pictures we got before of this figure were definitely taken from the photo shoot for the box.
Yes.
Like now you realize, like, oh yeah, like this was like they lit it up good, and stuff, and love the lighting on that. That's just so beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. And I love it because a lot of what NECA has been doing with their Ninja Turtles line is that they've been making their boxes look as if they're movie like boxes, like how they were back in the day when you'd go into Blockbuster. They'd be on the shelf and they'd be like a movie you'd want to pick up, and that's kind of their bag anyway because they do a lot of movie stuff. So seeing that bleed over into Ninja Turtles is fantastic, and then the two together, the Universal Monsters, their movies, and the Turtles and stuff. This is great, and I am so excited. Like, I'm very excited to have this box. Like, I would almost just purchase this box if that was just here's a print of this. I'd be like, oh, that's neat. I'd pay like money for that, I guess. But
for that print,
geez. Yeah, and so this is really neat. It's funny how they're billing it as Raphael as Frankenstein's monster. That's pretty neat. And
it's almost like he's like an actor. It's like he's acting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I like the typeset and font is beautiful. Like, the whole thing is just the layout's gorgeous.
It is very good. And but I like what you said there. Now this is kind of a little bit tangential, but I had this thing, and I think I've mentioned it before, where like, we talk about comic books and stuff, and we wonder why how the timeline is and how some stories don't line up and the inconsistencies in comics. And I've kind of had this like narrative in my head that like, what if all comic books that we receive are not like the actual story, like from like the horse's mouth, if you will, but are actually just retellings of a story that's been passed down, or like that's like, hey, I heard this happen the other day, and somebody just approximates it, and then that's how we get the comic book narrative and things like that. The fact that you just said that about the movies and the actors, like that kind of gives this a whole new dimension. You're kind
of moving into what makes me actually love like 40K lore as much as I do. Like 40K like books and stuff is the fact that it does the same thing.
Right.
Like if you actually look deep enough into it, like metatextually, like almost all of it is recountings and people's accounts. Doesn't mean that's how it happened. Doesn't mean the narrator's reliable. So when you actually boil it down, you're like, what facts do we have about a lot of this? Not a lot of facts. So people can just keep writing for it, and it's just so well done.
Yeah,
and that's the same thing as the same kind of idea. I love when that happens in stories. I'm a huge fan of unreliable narrator in general. But that is a very interesting like global concept of like what if these are just like recollections, because it's always from someone's point of view.
Absolutely.
Like now it's always got a tilt to it.
It does. So we could even say that like maybe this is what the Turtles did after season 10. Like everything kind of calmed down and they grew up a little bit.
Oh, nice.
To go into acting, and they get jobs as monsters because that way people aren't sure if they're real or not. Like, because it's all makeup and stuff. Like, so that's kind of a neat thing. So I'm glad you brought that up. But
what if they live in what if it's just from an alternate dimension, like an alternate reality where
that's true.
All the humans destroy themselves and only mutants survive, and now they're in all the movies.
That could be a thing too. Another thing is that see the red light on him, that could be from the red skies from season 10 of the animated series. So there's a lot of layers here that could possibly come true.
Maybe does he have to put out the red light?
Oh,
Sting doesn't think so.
I don't think Sting thinks so, especially if it's Roxanne as Raphael as Frankenstein's monster, then maybe that could be the case.
Now we're starting to peel back too many layers of the onion.
That's
you know
true.
what I'm saying?
We
could say some things here that might get us in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying, frankly.
So we might Frankensteinly, yes. Now here we have the back of the box. And like you said, these are all the photos from the press release that we've already seen, just kind of like put into a collage for the back of the box. And it says, "It's alive! Raphael is Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, yeah.
He's been shell-shocked. See a terrifying turtle with attitude. Pure terror from the sewer. Warning, the monster is loose. Beware his shocking sigh." And that's fantastic. Those are great. And that's that. Let's see here. What else do we have here? We have some inbox photos, which is cool. We've seen this before. Yep. We saw that, but that still just looks fantastic.
Big question I have for you.
Okay.
If you want to show the actual like figure instead of just like the picture. Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Is this like a pro-painted version of him that is then put in this box like to show you, or is this like what you're gonna see like when you buy it?
My understanding is that this is the actual thing that you will be receiving.
That's a production run.
This is
production boy.
Yes. Yeah, okay. This is production.
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of what I loved in the version of the figure that was in the photograph. That was like in all the photographs. He looks really good.
He does. He looks fantastic.
Is that real metal chain? That looks like a lot like real metal chain.
It should be. But the fact that it's not just plastic, or at least it's not just molded plastic, that goes a long way. Even if it was just like a little plastic chain, that'd be fine. But I'm pretty sure this is metal.
But that looks like true metallic metal.
It probably is.
That's the only thing that makes me think it's not that's the boy. That's the pro-painted one. Is I don't see a lot of true metallic metal on a lot of these guys usually. Yeah. And those look like true metallic metal to me.
I think they
like
are.
Because like the little the plates with the handles that are like kind of riveted to the bottom of his jacket.
Yeah.
Just above his dangly bits.
Right. Yeah, that wardrobe mouth. Like, God bless wardrobe people, because they got to look at all this stuff and be a little bit depraved like we are, because I bet they didn't even think of this, the way this looks. But
if that's true metallic metal, I am very impressed.
Let's see if getting in closer, if getting in closer helps.
Yeah, just a little on his downstairs mix up.
Yeah,
so then we get.
Yeah. Well, see the way that it's.
I mean, it's at least
dangling.
Washed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. So it's definitely not molded plastic. That's not molded on.
Yeah.
The part I don't have a finger like on the screen to show you, but there is a link that is connected to the whatever this other giant metal part is, that's keeping the chain from just like falling off. It's kind of tethered to it, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's let's see.
It looks like.
I think it is. So
it looks like Robotop metal. If it's not, that means it's highlighted really well, which is cool, because that gets into like non-metallic metal, which is actually harder to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you're actually like not using metallic, but you're like literally painting it up to make it glare off as if it was true metallic.
Right. No, this is metal chain.
So
I'd be surprised if it was.
Well,
I'd be surprised.
I'm very interested to see this guy in hand. If this is what NECA's like putting out like on the shelf, I'm highly impressed with what I see. Oh, yeah. I mean, severely highly impressed.
Right.
If there is such a thing.
Now
like, I am all over that.
Yeah, I am too. This is already in my Big Bad Toy Store pre-order box. So yeah. So one last thing before we move on, they have an image of the side of the box, which gives us a little bit of a tease. 2 teases to be exact. So let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Okay, here we go. So, we got the front of the box, so we've already seen. We got Raphael on the side. We got Leo,
Yep.
which we will talk about momentarily because there are some differences there. But then we get some
Yeah.
reveals in the way of Michaelangelo and
Oh.
presumably April O'Neil as we got Mikey as the mummy and April O'Neil
Yeah.
as
Oh my
Bride of
God.
Frankenstein. I'm assuming it's April. It could be Donatello. I don't know.
That
Could be
Mikey mummy
another
looks
character. Who knows?
so cool.
But
Just
Mikey,
that eye.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, that eye looking at you, that looks
yeah,
so good.
it does.
Oh, I'm
That
actually super excited about that.
I am
That's
very
gross.
excited. Yeah, this
Oh
is
man.
gonna be rad, and I am super stoked on that. And yeah, the April as Frankenstein's monster, or excuse me, the Bride of Frankenstein. She is, or they are. The only thing I can make out on them is that there looks to be some spikes on their
Yeah.
shoulder, kind of like almost like if
Yep.
it's a collar, possibly.
Uh-huh.
And there's the definite streak in the hair that's there, but obviously it's
Yeah.
blacked out because they're. I feel like on the box it's gonna be
On
there,
the
like,
box it'll be a bit. Yeah.
but this is done probably
Absolutely.
in post. But Michaelangelo looks fantastic. One eye open,
Oh.
just kind of dusty looking.
Gripping his pillow tight.
Right. And
That's what it looks like.
it is. It is. But then if we go up, we see Leonardo.
Oh, that's a different color.
This
hair
this
on
is
his head.
different. Now,
That's a Billy Goat's gruff down there. What he's
it's
got
true.
going on with that chin.
I was gonna say it looks similar to some of the pictures that we have of Farmer Greg, friend of the show, longtime
Yep.
producer of the show, Farmer Greg. Some of
Yes.
this, it looks very similar to him.
More than a passing resemblance. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
mostly just in the hair, but still, this
Yes.
is vastly different than what we saw previously a couple months ago, where
It's very
they revealed some. So I have a picture that I have made. Let me see, a composite, if you will. Let me see if I
Oh,
can
we
pull
got
that
a
up.
composite compare and contrast situation
Ooh,
going on?
yeah, I gotta zoom out quite a bit real quick here. So let's see here. So there we go.
Okay.
So above you have the back of the side of the box for Raphael as Frankenstein's monster, which has Leonardo with bushy reddish brown eyebrows and a goatee that's fairly long.
This
Below
long,
that,
yeah.
I have the Leonardo that was put out in a promo shot from NECA that has more subdued hair on the eyebrows, and it's plastic.
That looks like a whole.
And then the
That
chin
looks like a
hair,
whole different mold.
it looks very different.
The chin hair is without a doubt longer.
Uh,
Like you could make an accounting for the first image we got
Right.
with it being with the light being down,
Yeah.
it being so like kind of sparsely lit that maybe like the color doesn't come through as much as it would in a well lit photo like that.
Right.
The Leo that I'm seeing right there, though, in the box image, looks like a digital drawing. Like that
It
doesn't
does
even
look like a
like
digital
figure.
drawing. That's what I was going to
Like that
say.
doesn't even look right to me. So
It does look like a rendering.
I buy the bottom image a ton more than I buy that top one. To
Right.
be 100 with you.
Now, because the validity is for the bottom one is that we saw this is the only image that we've seen of this Leonardo from NECA officially. I think.
Yeah.
There was. I think I talked about
We got
it.
some back shots from a person on Instagram, I believe.
Yes.
Like
that,
another content creator, right?
It was the person that takes the actual photographs for these toys. I think they posted a back shot of Leonardo.
Okay.
I don't have it up right now, but
Yeah.
but it confirmed that his swords do go in the back of his shell, like through his shell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they confirmed some other stuff there, but it's the same figure and the same scenery as we saw with the bottom photo, like the rest of it. And that leads to me to believe that the bottom one is more of a production, and the top one that was on the box art or the box packaging for Raphael is a digital rendering. But I'm just confused as to why Michaelangelo, because Michaelangelo looks vastly like different, like in the sense that that looks like a production figure of Michelangelo.
It
as
does.
the
It does. It
mummy.
looks like it was given the same lighting treatment as Raph.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it looks like it was like studio shot really well. Can you zoom in
Right.
again on those guys?
Yeah. Give me a
It
second.
looks like he was lit up like Raph was with like the two shades of color. He's got kind of a green on his left side, it's very light, and then that red light on the right, and that looks more production ish. and then you go scroll up to Leo, and he looks like someone did him in the Photoshop, and then you go
Yeah,
up to Raph, and that's just a picture of the figure.
exactly.
Like,
Now,
so
yeah,
I don't know. That
and
Leo's very weird.
it's very weird. His eye doesn't look as
No,
weird as it does in the other
but they
photo.
can't. But they can't fix that, right? So I guess my question for you is
Mm,
because you know a little bit more about the timeline on these guys.
yeah.
So if they do a reveal, like let's say they revealed the one off shot of Leo, and people are like, I hate that. Like it's some Sonic the Hedgehog movie level, like or it's like
Mm,
I won't buy that. That is garbage town. And everyone says it, and they're like blown out. They're like, I can't believe no one likes this. Like we loved this, and we thought it was great, but like no one will buy it. They can't change that sculpt and go retool and like make and change him, can they? And
not
still meet release?
no
Like there's almost no way, right? Like those guys are in
no.
box. Like
Yeah,
they're coming
not
from China right now, right? Like there's no way.
right. At the very least, two of them are, I would say. Uh, uh yeah, because no, they couldn't. They wouldn't have enough time to do a turnaround because it's not as simple. I say simple, but in comparison to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that you're referencing, where they could go back in, apply something digitally
It's
to
still a
it.
ton of work. I mean, it was a
Oh,
ton
it's a
of work
bunch
for
of
them to
work,
fix that, but they can
but
because
they
the movies it's not like they have to like remake dyes to like mold up like do you know what I mean? It's not like
well.
that.
The thing is that there's so many meetings that happen with the overseas manufacturers that
Hmm.
the toy companies in America will fly over and they'll have meetings and they'll talk about stuff and they'll look at stuff. They'll get production stuff and they'll look at it. It's very similar to vinyl with test pressings and stuff. And they'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like what works and what doesn't, or can we do this differently and whatnot. And all that has been
Mhm.
forever in the past has been happening. This has been going on for probably about a year and a half to 2 years in the making.
That's what I'm saying.
So
That's what I would think because
so
I know
yeah.
from like everything from board games do the same thing. Board game
Mm,
manufacturers
yeah.
go to China and they figure stuff out. And when they're printing a board game, guess what? It's printed. So
Yeah.
if they reveal like, look at our game, it's gonna come out. People are like, that looks stupid. There's no changing it.
There's no
It's already
changing
been
it. Now
printed.
the
It's happening. And then yeah, and obviously miniatures, wargaming miniatures is the
mm,
same, a closer process where
yeah.
those molds have happened. So
Right.
if you get a reveal, people are like, I hate that model. People are like, the miniature company's like, well, it sucks we have 5,000 of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
already over.
So the cool thing is that NECA, the people behind NECA, they're super fans of this stuff. They're not amateurs either.
Yeah,
And
of course not. Of
but they're
course not.
definitely people that are fans of this stuff. So if they
Yeah,
don't feel like they're gonna, it's different than like Mattel is doing it or like Hasbro. Now
sure.
Hasbro and Mattel, they do have brand managers and like the they have specific groups that handle these different toy lines, and there's fans in there too, I'm sure. But it feels a little bit different with NECA. It feels a little bit more personal than it does
Yeah,
the big two. And I feel like if that was a situation where they were like, no, like this just looks horrible, we can't do it. Either they would have already made that decision and fixed it beforehand, or they would do a thing that I believe the Four Horsemen, who are a part of Super 7, they've done in the past with their He-Man lines, where they've made extra parts and either sold them like separately, like been like, here's a package of a bunch of things, or
okay.
here's a bunch of different heads for these different characters, and here's this one that we fixed that we messed up on the production one. But they do something like that. Or Hasbro even actually a year or so ago, I believe it was I'm gonna mess this up, I think, but it was the White Thunder, Dino Thunder Ranger, I think. He came with a helmet that wasn't accurate. And so all you had to do was write into
Oh,
Hasbro and just tell them, hey, you could submit a ticket and they would send you a corrected helmet. And and I did that and I got it. And so that's something else they could do if there's a problem with like a specific piece, essentially. But that's few and far between. That it does happen, but it's very rare. However, here I think this was just a digital rendering. And I was gonna say this. So we had gotten word that these were coming out a couple months ago through a Target link, and where people had found it on the their in their computer system. And I believe Raphael, Michaelangelo, and I don't remember the third one. It might have been Leonardo, but I don't think it was. I could be mistaken. But Michaelangelo was definitely on there, which leads me to believe that Mikey and Raph were two of the ones that were like, they're going first. Like that could be it. And
yeah. I mean, like, if I'm not mistaken, this does make the SKUs right.
Yeah.
Like, like if what we see on the side of this box, it was
right.
Michelangelo's mummy, Leo is as the Hunchback, Raph is Frankenstein, and April is Bride of Frankenstein. And that seems like that's what's playing out.
Yeah. See, I remember there being 3. I couldn't remember if there was 4. There might have been another one that came out, but just in my recollection, there was 3.
I can double check it.
Yeah, I can't quite remember, but nevertheless, I do remember Michaelangelo being on there. So that would stand to reason as to why he might look a little bit more along, like finished, than Leonardo does, because at the time when the box was being made, he might not have been as far along as the other 2. So they might have made Raphael, Michelangelo, then they were working on Leonardo, and then they were going to work on Bride of Frankenstein, presumably April O'Neil. And that could explain why we also don't see her on the box in fully. We just see her silhouette, essentially. And that could explain why Leonardo looks different. She's blacked out, but yet the 2 that were the first ones they worked on were the ones that look the most like the end product. And so that would explain the digital rendering of the hair and whatnot, or at least what it looks like to us as digital rendering on Leonardo, which I gotta say, going back to this composite image, I gotta say that, the way they went with the not the stringy hair and everything, just that looks way better. Yeah, that's infinitely times better. And so that's really neat. But yeah. So
I'm seeing 3.
Okay.
So it was I actually have the image from Twitter of the Target display, like where they have the things digitally, the tags. It is Leo as the Hunchback, it is Raph as Frankenstein's monster, and Michelangelo as the mummy.
Okay.
So she was never included in that original leak or whatever.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm very interested to see which way this is going to shape up. I mean, now, like, it could have just been that they, didn't have the photos they wanted for Leo, and they had an artist mock it up, and it wasn't very accurate. That could have been a concept drawing of Leo, frankly, and they just didn't they just don't want to reveal his full photo shoot yet, so they gave us one photo, and then they don't want to put that on the side of the box. It's obvious the side of that box has been tampered with. Like, because April's not revealed, like, April, do you know what I mean? And obviously on the side of the box, she would be, if they're trying to sell you those figures, she would be there.
Right, but what I was saying...
So, I mean, that's not what Raph's going to ship with.
I don't think so. I don't think
those images on the side. Like,
right.
But it doesn't look right.
Right.
I don't know why. It looks like the whole thing was photoshopped, frankly.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, I think that this was what the image we have here of the box was also going on whenever they were working on these figures. So Leo might not have been done yet, but they had a rough idea of what it was going to look like.
Yeah.
And that's what's here.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this, and this is actually from months ago. So that could very well be the case. But nevertheless,
true.
That's cool. True. That's really cool. I'm excited about Michelangelo. I'm excited about all these. I'm going to be getting all of them. And I'm really excited that it's I saw some people complaining about how, well, if they were really upset that Donatello wasn't in this way, the first 4. And I'm like, you don't want to do that, because if you're going to have 8 figures, you probably want to throw a turtle in the next one to kind of balance it to some degree. And that's fantastic. So I'm really excited, and I want to know, real quick, before we go, who do you think is going to be, you don't have to mention who they're going to play, but what characters do you think are going to be showing up in this line? Because at the very least, if there's, just to keep things even, we've got one Ninja Turtle we haven't seen yet. And that, and in April, we already know April's coming in this line via the box. So Who were the other three?
What if it was Irma as Bride of Frankenstein, dude, and they blew you out?
That's what
That
I'm
would
hoping for.
be
That would be
badass.
amazing.
That would I would love to get like alley-ooped like that.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. I'd love to just be like, April is
Right.
and then it's like loud wrong because they're like, and it's
Yeah.
Irma and she looks so good. I
Right.
can see Irma looking so good, even
Oh,
though
absolutely.
what NECA isn't really good on that line, right? I mean, they're not. They don't really do they get into the more of the extended cartoon universe as much with these
Well,
like
oh
like
yeah.
Irma type.
Yeah.
I guess they do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
You're
they do.
right. Okay. So
I
yeah.
mean,
So
yeah.
I guess I would love to get blown out. I'd love
I
to get blown out like
Now,
that.
would you be blown out if it was actually Casey that was Bride of Frankenstein?
Let's go. I mean, of course, yes, I'd be blown out. I'd be
that
totally
would be
blown out. Yes.
totally unexpected.
Master
but
Splinter as Bride of Frankenstein.
That would be amazing.
100% blown out.
I would love that. Yeah, I'm curious because like we're not sure if this is what version of the Turtles this is.
Yeah.
Like we don't really know. NECA does the movie figures and they do the cartoon figures. So
yeah.
We haven't, well, and they did comics back in the day, and they do the video game stuff. So they run the gamut of all the stuff.
They kind of run the gamut there, yeah.
But like, I'm just very curious if it's gonna be like more villains. Like if they stick to supporting characters, you've got Splinter, Irma, and like the other news like cast from Channel 6 potentially, or you could go bad guys, which I think they're probably gonna go. That might be the best, more balanced way to go. You could get like a Shredder, Krang as an accessory, so technically there's 4 villains, and then you can have Bebop and Rocksteady as something, because they've shown us that they really enjoy making Bebop and Rocksteady variants. And I'll be honest with you, I will buy all of them, because Bebop and Rocksteady as dressed up as anything, like especially from the Adventures comics and some of those later, like more mid season episodes of the 1987 animated series.
I'm hoping
Fantastic.
if they stay in the Frankenstein, I'm hoping for Donnie as Dr. Frankenstein. Victor
That would be
Frankenstein.
neat.
It would be sick.
That would
be so sick.
Yeah.
That's all I need. You know what I'm saying? You can delay Donnie, it's fine. But like let's him as like, I mean, a mad scientist that looks like truly insane would be amazing. And they got room, and they also have Ygor.
They do.
I mean, they have Leo as Ygor. They're sticking with this. I mean, the mummy's not Frankenstein,
right?
But they're putting a lot of Frankenstein into this,
right?
So
because you could have easily overlooked Ygor and just had Leo be somebody else,
absolutely,
and you would have had plenty of room. But they're leaning into this with Frankenstein stuff, so that's.
They still have like Creature from the Black Lagoon. They still have, there's so many other Universal monsters that they have to play with. So.
Yeah. So that's very exciting. So that's that. So what do you guys want to see? Do you like, are there some Universal monsters that we've forgotten about that you want to see NECA do? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's going to be April as the Bride of Frankenstein? Is it going to be Casey? Who knows? Let us know. turtlesoupshow@gmail.com, or write us in the comments below. That'd be legit. And yeah. So else time.
One of these
days.
Back.
Woo!
One of these days. We're back, boys.
It's
wow.
Been a minute. So
right?
Yeah, so I'm getting the old rust out the gears.
Knock that rust off.
Is it rusty? Jesus.
Don't ask me that.
Yeah. So
so are you ready to hop into this comic? Are you ready to do this thing?
I think so.
Everything hopped up before we do the big introduction.
Just wanted to check in with the chat real quick. Let's see.
Sure.
Yeah, we got Paul Calicote coming in. Oh snap! Pop! All crits draw 2 cards. So basically, I'm here and now I'm gone. Love you, daddies. Else time. Okay, Paul. Thank you so much for stopping by. We love you too.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Ooh, love the body count." And yeah, so that's cool. Another fan for body count. And then we got Casey M. Love the channel. Praise hands. So thank you very much for that, Casey.
Oh, I mean, yes.
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 So I think that does
Thanks for
it.
remembering
So
to do this to do this chat check-in. We had
yeah.
a during our production call yesterday. I was like, I always forget. Always forget
Hmm.
to go in for that chat check-in. And
Yeah.
I could tell that Eric was like, "I got you, fam."
I got you, fam. That's what we're here for. We call us
And I
family. So
we call us family. Um. So are you ready to hop into this thing?
I think so.
Ready for
Let me double
the main
check
feature?
the main feature. Yeah. I think we're all good. All systems go.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Let's do it.
So all right. So guys, it is body count number 2. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um. Actually, if we want to clip this, you probably want to go back because we start on the 2 shot.
Yeah, I got to go back because I messed up some other stuff. So let me do that. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go.
Sorry, fam. There we go.
So there we go.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Family body count number 2. You know what I'm saying? We're back. It's we had the great Ed Wilson make a jab on Facebook and say it took almost as long to get us to cover this second episode, the second issue of the comics, as it took them to print the second one. You know
Goodness.
what I'm
That's
saying?
true. I own it, though. We did
So
it.
yes, that's exactly right. So this is body count number 2. Uh, this is from April of 1996. This was the first comic that was put out solely on Image because technically Body Count 1 was issued by Mirage, and then that was like one of Mirage's last things they did, and they
Right.
just stopped it. And then Image came out later and put out number 1, and then continued the rest of the series. So this is our first technical jump
Mm,
into a solely Image comic book
right.
that was never published by Mirage. Okay. So basically, because we did issue 1, and honestly, just to get you caught up on where we are right now in the story,
Mm,
not a lot you need to know. The storyline effectively follows this mysterious woman named Midnight.
right.
Midnight.
Midnight.
I always think of the joke from Empire Records, like one of the most undersold jokes in the movie Empire Records ever is when you see this character pick the phone up and they work at a
Yeah.
record store called Empire Records, and
Right.
he picks it up and goes, Empire Records open till midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Midnight, and he hangs the phone up, and like it's just and it cuts something else, and it's like whatever, but like that's
Yeah.
like genius.
Oh,
To
yeah.
me. Like, just genius.
Because people are calling asking what time did they close after he's already said
Yeah,
what time did
and
they
you
close.
and you don't
Yeah.
even need to hear the other end of the phone call. Like they didn't
Yeah.
even do like, well, how late are you guys open? Don't even need that.
Don't
It's
even
just
need it.
until midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight, and like hangs the phone up. So Midnight is this mysterious woman who winds up crossing paths with Casey Jones as he is in a local drinking establishment and gets into big fights because that's what Casey does.
It is.
Uh, you have Midnight, who is a callipygious, vivacious woman
Woo.
on the run, runs into the bar for to try to get away from our chief antagonist, Johnny Woo Woo. If you need him, he is
Yep.
a brutal assassin with not one but 2 augmetic hands. That's right, metal hands. And we learn in this issue that the twin Glocks is his trademark. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's rocking 2 Glocks. Johnny 2 Glocks is what they should
Johnny
have
Two
called that
Glocks.
guy.
Well, I want to step back for a second. You said a word I haven't actually heard before. So you said How do you say? Because I think it's a derivative of augmented, right? Is that
Augmetic.
augmetic? I've never heard it like in
Yeah.
like I understood what you meant, but it's just neat. Like I've
Yeah.
never heard it explained that way.
That's borrowed from 40K. Technically, like
Ah,
if you have a limb that is not a vat grown
yeah,
like replacement, if it's
right,
metal,
yeah.
it is an augmetic limb.
Oh, okay, so like
But
me
I
for the
want
waist
to
down.
say, yeah, oh yes, the robot from waist down. But I
Yeah.
want to say, I'm just gonna look it up right now, really
Okay,
fast.
go for it.
That I want to say that could not just be exclusive to that universe. That augmetic may be, but that's what they call any
Yeah.
like robotic replacement limb.
Right. Well, it makes sense. Like when you said it, when you used it in a sentence, I understood what you meant. I was just wanting to step back because I had never heard it like that. But also, I'm thinking other people might not have known what it meant. But still,
Uh, Yeah, it's it's a word that's being used by other companies and stuff. But when
Okay.
you just Google augmetic,
Yeah.
a lot of 40K stuff comes up because that's what they call
Uh
them.
so
But
so
that's
so for
effectively
so for instance, Jax from Mortal Kombat 2, he would have been, because he's got the
yes,
metal arms, like that could have been like
yep,
what you're talking about.
yeah,
Okay.
an augmetic, yeah, it's like an augmetic thing, or classic Luke in Empire Strikes Back loses his
Mm,
hand,
right.
gets the augmetic hand, which is
Right.
augmetic, even though the outside is covered in like fake skin,
Yeah.
the inside is purely robotic, right?
Right.
Like,
And
yeah,
and then
augmetic
the
hand, and
like the
they're drawn in the book
right.
exactly like a replacement augmetic hand would look like. It's
Right.
like a T-800, like
Yeah.
from like Terminator hand, basically. He's got
Right.
two of those.
Kind of just like the last season of Alf, when they did that to him too. Yeah.
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 When he looked like Kano, and he
Yes.
had like one whole part of his head
Right.
skull was augmetic, and he had the red
Yeah.
eye.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
Nobody remembers that season.
Nobody does. It's a
But
great
they're
season.
not true. They're not true fans.
They're not.
Uh, so Johnny Woo Woo, Johnny Two Glocks, if you need him, he's got two augmetic hands and a penchant for killing. We find out that Midnight committed some. We get a flashback of Midnight on some kind of a kill. She's on some kind of like kill team with
Mm,
Johnny Woo. Like, and they're going out to like murder somebody. It all goes bad. She winds up having to escape, and we see Johnny Woo Woo like Midnight, Midnight, Midnight. He says her name a bunch, and
a
you realize
bunch.
that I think that it's implied that he believes, and the family that they worked for, the mafia family, believes that she set him up, that she
Yeah.
was the rat, and because the police showed up, the evil SWAT team showed up like immediately, like they
Right.
breached the building, they're going for the target, and now it's like three vans full of SWAT guys show up instantly,
Yeah.
and they think that Midnight set it up, and they're
Cuz
out to kill Midnight. The problem is really fast. The
yeah.
problem is they put Johnny Woo Woo on there, which is not
Right.
only her ex partner, but
Mhm.
also apparently like the most unstoppable, like once again Terminator
Yeah.
level assassin that they have access to. He's like somehow finds a way. Like if you're hiding in a bowl of rice in China, he's at the bottom of the bowl of rice going to shoot you.
Right,
Like it
right.
doesn't matter where
Goodness.
you are. Apparently, like
Yeah, he's
Johnny
going to get
Woo
you.
Woo can go literally anywhere.
Yeah, he's a lot
And
like
that's what
he's a lot like the rhythm that Paula Abdul wasn't it Paula Abdul that said the rhythm's going to get us?
yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot like the
Yes,
rhythm.
yeah. You're in Florida. You're in Orange Grove, number 1,000,000, and
Yeah.
behind that next orange is Johnny Woo, Johnny Two Glocks, ready to shoot you.
Behind
Like
that next
that's
orange.
yes. Like you cross a bridge, you think
Yeah.
you think oh man, damn,
Yeah.
I gotta pay the troll toll.
Right.
Well, the troll under there,
Is
that's Johnny
Johnny
Woo
Two
Woo.
Glocks.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like Johnny Two Glocks, like he's
Now,
out. So
so
sorry, go ahead.
I think and you might have said this and I might have missed it. I think that
Okay,
Midnight was the getaway driver,
Midnight.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Midnight. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So and that
yeah.
that was another thing that but the other thing was is that I don't think, in my recollection, now again it was a million years ago when we covered the first issue. You know what? We should have planned it like that. That it was like we're gonna reenact this the way that the publishing came out, where it was like we do the first issue and then wait
Oh,
a bit and then put out the second one.
Jesus.
We should have sold that, but nevertheless, I don't recall Johnny Woo Woo having those arms. Like I don't
He
remember.
did.
I mean, he definitely
He did.
does, but I don't
He
think
did.
that they
He did it.
showed
He
it as
did it in the
much.
first. No. They didn't like. They didn't call it out,
Mm-hmm.
but it's in the art. I remember
Yeah.
this
Oh,
clearly
yeah.
because stupid enough, I have one of well, two of the models I have that I'm painting in my Space
Mm-hmm.
Marines have
Yeah.
augmetic hands that look just like that, and they're grabbing a plasma pistol. And
Oh,
what's really
okay.
frustrating is that in the kit, the only arm the sergeant came with to
Yeah.
actually as a handgun was the augmetic hand grabbing. So I have two
Mm.
sergeants and two different squads. Each one has the same augmetic
This-
hand, so I had to pose them different.
right.
And I was dealing with that struggle, like the augmetic hand around the gun thing,
Right.
when we
Right.
did that issue.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
So
was
it hit
very
home.
like keen. Yes,
Yeah.
weirdly, I was very keen to the look of like a guy with augmetic hands holding a handgun.
Oh, I love it.
And I thought in the beginning of the comic, I thought that it was just another one of his assassins, like
Yeah.
whatever. And then I realized later that it is they show him in the comic like Johnny Woo Woo with like both hands. Sorry, with both hands out, with
Yeah.
the handguns in them firing, and you see
Hmm.
that they're like metal hands. So that
Right.
they do show it, but they call it out here. They're very
Yeah.
like, because spoiler alert, some hunks get together and do a little breakdown on Johnny Two Glocks, and they tell you all about Johnny Two Glocks and about his augmetic hands.
Yes.
Um, so they break it down for you here.
Exactly.
I think the last big part is, of course, when Johnny Woo Woo comes to collect. You know what I'm saying? When the Grim
Hmm.
Reaper appears,
Yeah.
Casey's in the middle of it, and it's looking kind of rough for Casey at Midnight, because Casey naturally just kind of wants to protect Midnight because
Hmm.
she's a woman who's trying to be killed by this guy called Johnny Two Glocks, and he's
Yeah.
just like running around. It's kind of crazy. Um, but then, of course, when things get at their worst, Raphael shows up,
Yeah.
like literally drops down from like the actual like
Hmm.
overhang outside,
Yeah.
and starts leveling people, and it leads to kind of like a confrontation, a bit of like a kind of classic like impasse, like a Mexican standoff like between
Hmm.
them,
Yeah.
and they're able to escape. So at the end of issue one, um, Midnight and Johnny Two Glocks are separated because Casey gets her
Hmm.
away
Yeah.
with Raph in tow, and that
Yes.
is kind of like where that leaves off.
Right. And so that's kind of where it brings us today. So
Yes,
let's
that
see.
that brings us right here.
Yeah. So let's see.
So, without further ado, this is body count number 2. We have pencils, inks, and cover by Simon Bisley. Story and layouts by Kevin Eastman. Letters and colors, Steve Levine. Computer colors, Altered Earth
Ooh.
Arts. You know what I'm saying? We
Right.
talked a
Right.
lot about them in the past.
Hmm.
That digital, the beginning of the digital art here.
Oh yeah.
Digital color.
Hmm.
The publisher is Eric Larson, of course, and temperamental dolt, Josh
Oh.
Eichhorn.
Ooh.
And yeah, so that's and then of course a credit here: characters created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird at
Right.
the bottom of your page. Now we have this cover,
Hmm.
and what do you think?
I actually kind of like it. I think I like it because of how there's a lot of cooler tones in it, like a lot of
Yeah,
blues and blacks and just a lot of like muted kind of colors, with enough highlights that kind of pique my interest. Um, the art is, we've talked about this before, where you have the art on the outside of the book that doesn't reflect the inside, but this is pretty close to being what's on the inside of the.
this is pretty close to what's on the
Yeah,
inside.
yeah, it's a little bit more smoother. It's not as, and I think that's because of the coloring and the altered earth touch on there. But
Oh,
yeah, this
absolutely.
this is pretty
You can
neat.
you can see you can see the digital coloring big time. You also
Yeah,
see like the beginnings too of digital paint,
yeah,
like spray paint, which is right underneath the black car that's on the
hmm,
right.
yeah,
There's like a splattering effect on there.
yeah.
Um,
And a lot of people don't
but
know this,
yeah.
but a lot of that was done in MS Paint with the spray paint can. Like that's just how they did it. And
Oh damn.
yeah, and it's, if you got really good at it, you could do stuff like
Your
this.
boy,
I never
your boy
did.
Farley's gonna get you. Your boy Farley's gonna come for you. Talking
Oh
about
yeah,
using you as MS Paint. He's
I
probably
know,
using
right?
like the highest tech business.
Oh, of
It probably looks
course.
like MS Paint, but I mean, it was the bleeding edge at the time. You know
It
what I'm
was.
saying?
It was. And speaking of bleeding edge, there's people
I like
bleeding
the
all over
cover
this.
too. Yes, I like the cover too, especially for the contrast.
Oh yeah.
There's like true black all the way up to pretty much I think like pure white
Yeah.
on the cover, and every shade in between. And a lot of times
Yes.
like covers, not all of them, but sometimes covers in an attempt to like blow you out. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like be the brightest one on the newsstand, because
Right.
you have to think about that. Like
Oh, you
that is a
definitely did.
tactic. Like
Oh,
like
absolutely.
covers are supposed to grab you either by how like ridiculous they are and are eye catching,
Yeah.
but the big key to a lot of cover work is a lot of bright colors. A lot
Right.
of like that's why, or just heroic poses. It makes you want, if you like Captain America, and
Hmm.
there's a cover where Captain America is just like punching someone, but you see all his muscle detail. It's a heroic
Yeah.
pose. People want to buy the cover.
Yeah.
This is definitely like kind of getting into that extreme, very like indie comic style, almost like
Hmm.
Marvel Max style, where
Oh yeah.
this grabs your eye because of the contrast as we go from true black all the way up to white on the hood,
Yeah.
and the glare, the glare on the engine housing of the white car is true white, and
Right.
everything in between. So that contrast, you don't actually usually see that as much on comic covers
Right.
because it darkens them down and it
It
makes
does.
it where people maybe they don't jump off the newsstand as quickly. But
Right. And
I think that's the biggest thing I appreciate about it is the color sweep and scale is very wide,
the
which I
other
think is amazing.
the other thing that I enjoy about it is that Raphael is on this cover, but he is not facing
Yes,
us. Like his
correct.
shell is turned to us, and he is using 2 handguns blasting these dudes and
And
Johnny
started
Woo
blasting.
Woo. And he just started blasting, and
Yeah.
it's interesting, and this looks very cool. Like there's a lot going on here, and
It
I want to
does.
know what's happening in this issue. And so that's what a
Yeah.
comic cover. Another thing a comic cover is supposed to do is draw you in and make you want to find out what's happening. And so
Yeah, love it. Love the yeah. I love a lot of. There's a lot of things I love about this color, this cover,
yeah,
especially just the when you actually look at the coloring, like the deeper you look into the coloring, the more you're like like Casey's face, like
oh
behind the wheel of that white car.
oh yeah,
There's so much in that.
there
It's just
is.
really good.
It
It's really
is.
good. So
It
yeah,
is.
yeah. I think we're agreed. It's a good cover.
It is.
Love the mask at the top, the masthead at the top. Bright red, like blood red body count. Like it just looks cool as hell.
Oh, it totally
Um,
does.
and there's something about that image eye in the corner, man.
Ooh.
That masthead logo that gets me like 6 to midnight. Where I'm like,
Oh,
this book's
absolutely.
gonna kick ass.
Yeah,
Like just the minute you see that, you're like, this is gonna be the best.
yeah, Image's branding was fantastic, and just that eye. And now you and I
Yeah,
have an
dude.
attachment because we were reading Invincible back then. So, well, not back in
Oh yeah.
'96,
Oh
but
yeah. No.
but
I mean, hell,
for a
I mean,
while,
Walking Dead when it first came out. I
Walking
mean,
Dead. Yeah,
that
exactly.
that eye means
So
quality. You know
it
what I'm saying?
does.
Like,
It does. And so that was it's so funny how like you don't think about branding as much. We probably do now a little bit more than what we did growing up,
uh-huh.
but now it's like you start to realize that marketing
Iconic.
is it's just so like
Oh,
pivotal to
absolutely,
this stuff. So yeah.
absolutely.
So all right, you ready to dig in?
Yeah, yeah. This is a bit of a there's some good dialogue in this one, but kind of a bit of what's it like all these kind of a fight issue. So
Yeah.
we should move through pretty quick. So
Okay.
so we open up on Midnight, Casey and Raph on the outskirts of town.
Mm.
They're what appears to be by some like dock kind of area. There's some boats kind of, and you see the city deep, the actual skyscraper part of the city way off in the distance, and they're kind of around
Yeah.
the shore kind of area.
Yeah.
And and kind of open up with like basically a conversation between them because they haven't had a chance to get things together. You gotta remember, like Raph and Casey and Midnight really haven't like figured out all of what's up. Like
Right.
they helped protect Midnight kind of because they were protecting themselves, frankly, because
Hmm.
like there was Johnny Woo Woo and the Gun Gang, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
So now that they're kind of away from trouble for now, they're trying to hash this stuff out.
Yeah.
Um, the bulk of what happens here really and once again, your boy Kevin Eastman is on this story and the layouts. So the
Right.
layouts in this book, to me, I know we talked a little bit how the layouts like were pretty cool in the first book, and we kind of talked about like, oh, let's get some more of those Kevin layouts and let's whatever. And I think this book brings you there.
Yeah.
The layouts in this book I think are fantastic.
I
So
agree.
um, you've got this opening dialogue here where Midnight basically reiterates that she's in trouble. You know what I mean? She's
Hmm.
like, she's trying to get to a place called Sanctuary. She mentions this place in the first comic. Some place called Sanctuary, which would, I guess, protect her from Johnny Woo Woo. There's an implication that if she gets to Sanctuary, like back in the day, in like the Middle Ages and shit, like you could
Yes.
literally, if you could make it to a church,
Yep.
like if you were being hunted,
Hmm.
made it to a church, like
They
everyone
couldn't touch you.
respected that and would not go in.
Yeah.
Like so,
Yep.
like they could take you under sanctuary and they could not come in and get you,
I
like while you were
remember
there.
I remember the first time that I became aware of that as a narrative or as a like storytelling element
Yeah.
was in the what was it? The 90s X-Men cartoon when the Nightcrawler episode showed up, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh
snap.
yeah.
Nightcrawler, favorite X-Man. Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
And it's because he was like, chased out of town, and he ran in and became a priest because he got into the church and didn't leave because he didn't want to, he got sanctuary
Y- y-
there. And
yes.
yeah, And so that was
I mean,
amazing.
there's stories of like the whole like, oh, she was sent to a monastery, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a lot of it kind of like there were a ton of the monks and people that helped, like all the adjudicants and stuff that helped in monasteries back in the day. Like, were usually people on the run who just like were like, well, this is my life now
Yeah.
because if I leave here, I'm dead. So
Right.
I guess
Yeah.
I take the
And
cloth and I do my thing. You know what I mean?
what
And uh,
I love that. I had never thought about it until you just mentioned it like that.
yeah.
Like the way you just vocalized that was neat because, that's kind of what I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but that's kind of what the church is supposed to be anyway. It's supposed to be these
Well, that's why
people.
they call the main. That's why they call the main part of the church sanctuary.
Exactly.
Literally, like, I mean,
But I was
like
thinking
the
about,
main big room is like,
yes.
yeah, that's what it was supposed to be.
But I was thinking more along the lines of people that have done bad stuff or at the very
Yeah.
least are on the outs with people that they can find home here. And that's kind of what it's always supposed to have been, and not about well, you can't be in here if you're not good enough. Like it's the
exactly
opposite.
like like unless you're dressed a certain way or unless you look a certain way, you can't be in the sanctuary. It's like, well, that kind of I mean, we can go on that rabbit hole for how
of course
much religion isn't what it was supposed to. What is it now? What it should have been. But anyway,
right. But that idea is fantastic, and I hadn't thought about it in that light since until you just said it. So that was really neat.
Yeah, but, I think it's very interesting. Like, or you could be on penance, for example. Like, you could go there, confess your whatever's going on, and the church may see fit to be like, okay, well, stay here and you're protected, and you work that off. You work off that sin, you find your way out of it. There's a lot that, and actually it's funny because in pre-unification England, which and I guess we're going down the rabbit hole, which actually they cover this concept in that show The Last Kingdom on Netflix, which if you haven't seen is a fantastic show.
Okay.
If you like pre-unification England history and Danish Vikings, I
like Vikings.
That was kind of a blowout because you've got England, who's obviously a Christian nation at this point, but they are made up of kingdoms. They're not unified England, so you have Wessex and you have all these other things and stuff going on. And it turns out there's climate change in the Danish like areas, and people, they can't grow crops. This really happened. They can't grow crops anymore, and they're having like their food rot. They have famine, so they literally get into boats and they're like, we gotta find a green place. And they literally see England and they're like, that's green as hell. And they just show up and they're like, this is our shit. And honestly, like England wasn't ready. And part of the reason those English kingdoms, not England, but those English kingdoms weren't ready was because the Danish didn't respect the church sanctuary at all.
Yeah.
So like the first thing that would happen when the Danes came is like, they would take all the lords and ladies and be like, quick, lady, to the sanctuary.
Right.
And the Danish would come in and be like, I'll burn that.
Yeah.
And I take all your stuff and everyone's dead. And they're like, but you can't. And I love it because like they believed so much that the whole world was Christian. They really thought that like the Christian God just literally lorded over everything.
Yeah.
That they couldn't get it through their head that a bunch of pagans would come and be like, we don't believe what you believe.
Right.
And this is not sacred to us at all. This is
Yeah.
And they're like, you're a heathen. And they're kind of like, oh, so you say our church isn't, like, our gatherings aren't cool, but yours are protected? Like, no. So they just came in and just, like, and they made a bunch of saints because, like, a whole bunch of religious people, like, stood up to the Danish and just got killed in their church.
Yeah.
Saint Cuthbert came from that. There's a ton of saints that came from being killed at the hands of Vikings. And it's interesting. The look in their eyes, the way they acted out on the show, it's crazy where they're just like, but no, this is the church, and the Danes are like, I burned that.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that that Midnight's not a saint, so she's probably going to be okay in Sanctuary.
Yeah. So absolutely, she's not looking to be a saint or a martyr. Right. But so she tells them what we've already seen. Some job went down. The family's coming after her. They sent Johnny to kill me, which is worse because not only do I have complicated feelings about Johnny because we used to be partners, but he's also like, he's that dude behind the orange. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the man next to you. Like, you're on the subway, like, watching a YouTube video. He's in the YouTube video. You go, what? Yeah. You look to your left, there's Johnny Woo. Like, he's also in the subway train. Like, like, and she's like, that's a real problem because I've got to get to Sanctuary or I'm dead. Mm-hmm. He could be here now, kind of. Like we have no idea.
Yeah. He could be one of those pigeons. So, yeah.
I mean, probably, like, Johnny Woo probably is, like, the pigeon on top of Raph right now. He's just, like, he's playing it cool. He's like, I'm good.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just going to hang out.
Bide my time.
People think I'm Pigeon Pete, but I'm just chilling.
But,
but look for the automatic wing. You know what I'm saying? If you see one wing made of metal that has a Glock in it, you know what I mean? Like, that's how you know you got Johnny Woo Woo. But
exactly.
So effectively, that's it. She's just basically reiterating what we already know, which is she's on the run. She's got a friend in Pittsburgh that'll help me get away to Sanctuary, and you can help me get there. I can pay you a lot. And this is where everyone has a little bit of argument because Raph is, for being a badass, Raph's got some morals. Raph's like, you know what I think? I think you're mob money BS. I think that you're going to pay us in blood money. I think that you traffic with idiots and the evil, and I'm not down with it.
Yeah.
And I'm out. And Casey's like, well, hold up though, because I'm about to get emo. And Raph's like, but don't, see, because I'm out. And we could just be out. And we were in a micro together. Do you remember that? And Casey's like, I do. He's like, and remember you were pumping weights and watching 8 action movies at one time? We could just be that again. And Casey's like, but wait, I need to listen to Midnight some more because the longer I listen to Midnight, the more I'm like, but now I'm emo.
Right.
So, yes, effectively, that's how it kind of turns out. She basically says, like, I just need your help. Like, I don't have anybody. And honestly, it's almost like we could just die anyway. But I'm definitely going to die. Yeah. And Casey says, oh, man, I don't know about these creeps either. He's like, damn, I'm a sucker for someone at their word, especially with eyes like yours.
Yep. And we get Raph here.
And your boy Raph does an actual, like on that one.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like, oh, thank you, Mr. Jones. He's like, it's Casey. And Raph's like, that actually sucks.
Yeah.
And because he says in the first issue, Casey says, call me Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then he's like, but it's Casey. So then basically Midnight says, all right, well, now that Raph's mad and I've emoed you out, I gotta go pick up my stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that is how in real life things just go bad. If you're gonna go do something with someone, like if someone's convinced you, like, hey man, dude, come on, man, just come shopping with me, and you're like, I don't want to, and they're like, come on, man, we'll go to Target and like probably like one more store, and you're like, okay, cool. And they're like, but first I gotta go pick up a thing. Yeah. Like if you hear that, like get out.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's just not because it's the but first though. Yeah. Like right. But first I gotta go cash my check. You're like that's gonna be awful.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want to do anything with that. I'm like going to Amscott. Like I'm gonna die there. Like this is gonna be a bad thing. So. Of course, that's what they do. So she says it's hidden in the city. So they have to go back to the city to get this. To get this cachet that she's got hidden away. So Grand Central Station, you know what I'm saying? They're walking in some pretty funny Halloween disguises.
Let's see if I can find it.
Raph says he feels a certain way in a word we don't use anymore that starts with R. But it was 1996. Yeah. So they are among the denizens, and of course this is where so much of your Simon Beasley's art comes out with just like everyone looks just so old and gross and terrible. You know what I mean? And it's pretty great when you get like immersed in it. You're like, this is actually pretty intense.
Yeah.
So she unlocks a lockbox, pulls out a bag that is lumpy and has a bunch of heavy crap in it because and all of a sudden she's like, duck, and it's not a game of Duck Duck Goose.
No.
Because we open up to a full page splash of everyone gets shot in the face.
Yes.
So I guess a trigger alert if blood or whatever gets you.
This gets pretty gross.
Kevin told Simon, I want everyone to literally die in gory ways, and Simon's like, oh, I'm a counterculture English artist. I can 100% do this.
I can totally do that.
And they shook hands over the ocean actually, and then Simon did this, and this is what happened. So everyone's dead.
Yes.
It speaks for itself. Awesome art. Once again, I think I said for it. Kind of 100% my style, but I still like it.
I can appreciate it, but a person literally gets shot in the ass. Like,
yeah, that happened. Like, he's got plumber's crack, and he pays the price. The ultimate
the price.
It's real. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Now,
and
I want to know: do you think that Casey has the face to pull off circle frame glasses?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so either, because it's
absolutely not.
You have to be a particular person to be able to do that.
Yes, Elias Cody is none of them.
Yeah.
You know who does?
Who?
Father Preston.
I was about to say, yeah, Father Preston busted those out, and I'm like, oh, that works.
He can bust them. I cannot. Yeah, I look like I should be like welding something with a brazing torch when I wear those. I look like I put those on, and I either look like Robert Blake,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he did kill that girl in his house,
Oh
or
my
I look like,
goodness.
shouldn't you be welding something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in like the 30s, like that?
Hmm.
Like it's one of those two.
Right. Right.
Um,
That's true.
so everyone has to scramble, because you see the gunshots, so you know
Right.
that is Johnny Woo Woo.
Oh
That
yeah.
Johnny Two Glocks is entered the building,
Hmm.
and it's a lot of the gun stuff. It's a
Yeah.
lot of like crazy gore. People just, I mean, getting eviscerated, people being decapitated by bullets. Several gunmen. You see in the
Yes.
background now, when you flip the page, or you see in the background several gunmen hiding behind pillars in the second
Yes.
frame down, and firing from cover. Um,
Yeah.
and obviously indiscriminate fire, shooting into whomever they wish to. And a big thing that happens here is that she's like digging into the bag that she pulled out. She's like, "Oh, you got to help," like whatever.
Hmm.
And of course, like Casey's like, I hate guns,"
Yeah.
whatever. And Raph pulls out a handgun and is like, "What now?" And
Hmm.
your girl Midnight's like, "Yeah, do it or die. Like, let's go." And she has what looks like a grenade launcher or something.
Yeah.
That looks like one of those like cylinder, those like six grenade cylinder launcher things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. This.
So it's kind of wild.
It is.
Uh, so she gets back there, and anyway, she just starts blasting. Um, and we see our first good shot of Johnny Woo Woo now on page 6. Like you see the augmetic hand with the Glock. You see him there, and he's like, "Watch it, boys, take cover." Um, So it's funny because Raph mentions here that his finger will not fit in the trigger, between the trigger
Yeah.
guard and the trigger
Yeah.
on this like a very
That's
large, like Desert Eagle looking like handgun almost.
right.
He it won't fit. He's like, "Yeah, this sucks." He's like, "But I got a plan." And he takes a grenade. I love this.
Oh
Puts it
yeah.
into a hot dog cart and
Yep.
kicks the hot dog cart toward your boys. And then at the bottom of the page, makes a punt sound when he
It
kicks it,
does.
and he says
And he
punt.
says it. Yes. Yes.
That
It's so
is some
good.
onomatopoeia like life he's
Oh
living,
yeah.
and I'm about it. Of course, it rolls directly into the goons, and
Yeah.
huge explosion. Um, and yeah, they believe they may have dealt with Johnny Woo at this point, but so they see a Jeep Wrangler just hanging out in
Hmm.
traffic, and they do the old GTA where not the one where you pull him out of the driver's seat, but where
Right.
you get in the passenger side and kick
And
him
then
out, like
yeah.
his door from it, and then slide over. That's
That's the best.
basically what she does.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's basically what Midnight does. Just pushes this guy out of the Jeep Wrangler, and on the way out, we see that they're trailed by gunfire and the too many teeth and scar-ridden face of Johnny Woo Woo with a smoking gun. He's so upset that they escaped.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to keep page. Okay,
I'm surprised he didn't
count
say
page
midnight
count.
here, because
Oh
that's all
no,
that.
he did. That was his refrain. Now,
Yeah. Now he's just
um, so at JFK, we see a 747. If you're nasty, come landing.
yeah.
We see some figures get out, like a gentleman. And I gotta admit, I read this a few times,
Hmm.
and I was never able to like fully figure out who's who in this like arrangement of new characters. Like it's very
Yeah.
confusing, and I don't
It
know if you can
is.
show the panel. So you see it's black and white at the top. Good afternoon, Detective Choi, and obviously like somebody people are getting off the plane. So this is the
Yeah.
guy who's like welcoming this Detective Choi.
Right.
And the next panel where you're supposed to read like what's going on here is basically like this guy who I take it's Detective Choi in like the yellow or the purple and black striped suit with the cigarette.
Right.
Like, lose the political touchy feely crap. Give me a squad car backups and the mayor on the horn.
Right.
And then there's a guy in black. It's like, now Weasel Neck. I guess that's like Detective Choi's like bodyguard or
Yeah.
like
That's kind of how I
right
took it.
hand man. And
Yeah.
then the guy who has like the red hair kind of parted over is
Right.
like the local man, like the local police guy, and he's like, "Hey, look, pal, I ain't your whatever." And
Right.
yeah, I mean, literally, like, his goon says, "Look, turd, there weren't no second
Yeah.
options."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's how I
Detective
took
Choi.
it. I took it as
Okay.
Choi was the guy in the purple and black, and that he's probably
Yeah.
like the brains of the operation, and
Yeah.
this dude next to him that looks like Dr. Phil but with like a really sharp mustache is the muscle essentially. That's
Yeah.
kind of how I interpreted that.
Yeah. Detective Choi. So, um, they're going to the Pinta Hotel. So they get in a taxi. At the same time, we see uh the midnight Raphael and Casey kind of recovering a little bit from, like, the post gunfire blues as they gas up.
Yeah.
Um, Raph takes a good look inside the gun bag and goes, "Well, that's a bag of guns
Yep.
and some monies." Uh, and then we have, like, your girl Midnight in the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
which looks like the bathroom at Brass Mug that was
Oh yeah.
complete with scummy toilet.
Oh yeah.
Like how you could ever put clothes on in a room like that. I don't know.
I don't
I
know
would
either.
probably get naked behind someone holding up a towel in the parking lot
Indeed.
before I would ever change clothes in that place.
Yes.
Because I would die and I would never make it out. And they'd be
Right.
like, "What happened to Ryan?" And he'd be
Yeah.
like, "Well, from Turtle Soup from the beginning until Ryan
Ryan dies in a
changed
dirty bathroom.
in a mobile Exxon Mobil bathroom and never could come out because he was unclean forever."
Yep.
So, she's thinking to herself, talking to herself, saying basically, like, "Yeah, we'll never make it. Like, Johnny's a killer. He's too
Right.
good."
Yeah.
And all I really did was just, like, get these two guys that are trying to help me killed now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just gonna die now because
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Um, and there's a screech, and we see outside Casey and Raph are like, "Uh-oh."
Right.
And yeah, guess who rolls by in the limousine shooting gunshots and coming drive by?
It's your boy.
Johnny Two Glocks. Like I told you, he's there. Like,
He's
you weren't
there.
gonna lose him for long.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I
no.
mean? Like,
He
he's
reminds me of the Aha music video for Take on Me. Like
oh
he's
yeah.
gonna come in and out of things and, like, be black and white and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll just do whatever.
somebody draws him, and then he's like comes out of the page. You're like, "Well, there's
Exactly.
Johnny Woo Woo again." You know what
Right,
I
right,
mean?
right.
Like, and he's all made of pencils, but he still has two Glocks, and they still work.
Yes.
Like, so
Yes.
it's like, well, he's real. Um, yeah, like, so this starts the gas station portion of our event, where a shootout happens at the gas station. Several cars get hit. Layouts are cool. A lot
Yeah.
of action.
Oh yeah.
Um, grind skish is how one car explodes.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that the important notes here is that, obviously your girl Midnight hears this, comes out of the bathroom of Ultimate Gross,
Right.
and sees what's going on.
Yeah.
And Casey and Raph are in the Wrangler bashing into stuff. They come back to get Midnight and pick her up. Now they're all in the car.
Right.
Midnight tries to kind of like get Raph to use weapons again because she's
Yeah.
like, "Come on now," and he's like, "But these guns,"
Mhm.
and she's like, "Well, we need it,"
Yeah.
and so basically some of the goons that are driving with Johnny Woo Woo shoot the gas pumps because, yep, and then they explode.
Yeah.
Uh, just
Yeah.
happens.
Just
And we
happens.
see the limousine in flames.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh, I want to show that
what's
real
kind of
quick.
funny
Hold
is,
on. I want to get to
yeah,
that.
what's kind of funny is you might want to pan over a little bit too. Just
Yeah.
go to your left a little bit, buddy. Pan over. Go right to, a little more. Just to keep it going. A little more.
Is that
Give
too
me
much?
that. There you go.
There you go.
Your girl screams Johnny when that thing
Yeah.
explodes.
Yeah.
No matter, I mean, because that passed. You know what I mean? Like
You can't
still
ignore
waters
it.
run deep.
Exactly.
Yeah, like even though he's on the loose, like to kill her, and he's hiding behind, like, that gum on your shoe. That's Johnny Woo Woo. You know
Well,
what I mean? Like when you go to pick it off, he's under there.
it
Like,
must be like
she still has the feel for him.
it might be a thing that they did, like, in their relationship, where they'd always just say each other's name after everything, and it's just like involuntary. Like, she's just doing it now. Like it's hard to
Oh,
say. However, you will notice that the inking, the lettering is done in a light blue,
in a blue.
as
Yeah,
opposed to everyone else that's just in black.
it's just in
Now,
black.
I will say,
It's pretty good.
actually, Okay, well, that could probably mean like that she cares about whatever she's talking about when
Yeah.
she speaks in blue, but however, she must also really care about gas pumps if that's the case, because
Oh.
gas pumps is also in blue, so that kind of
Why do they make
shoots
everything she says in blue?
because she's
That's
midnight, maybe. Like
no, because
like
she had the whole dialogue earlier where it was all in black. I mean,
that's true
she's talking to
too.
herself about I probably just killed 2 people and myself. And we're
Yeah,
trying to get sanctuary. Like that
yeah,
was all in
because
black.
I'm going back just
Yeah,
double checking.
they're selectively doing it. Like
They are,
because
yeah.
in the same page Raph has a red colored word look. He goes, "Oh man, look," and it's in red. It's just
Okay,
it's lettering.
okay.
You know what I mean? Like we do it.
Oh, you're right.
Um
I totally missed that before, but yeah, he does do that right here. Yeah. So
yeah, and like earlier when they escape the first time from Johnny Woo in this comic, and he
yeah.
goes, that's in red. You know
Okay.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just
It's.
they're using it for emphasis.
I guess I just hadn't
Um,
noticed it until I saw her say Johnny. Yeah. Interesting.
yeah. Then now you're like, oh, they did all this color in this. That's
Right.
cool.
Oh wait, this is a color issue.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that the whole time.
Oh, whoa. So yeah. So they're on the run, but remember, it's not just like one limo because Johnny Woo is in the limo that went like kersplats, but there's a second limo of Broheims. So they're still being chased, and it turns out Raph decides. Raph's like, you know
Oh
what?
yeah.
Enough messing around. He takes an Uzi out of the bag. He snaps the trigger guard off of it, which I think
Yes.
is awesome.
That is amazing.
And later on, and I don't understand this part because this is like Raph's already blasting.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this
Already.
panel of Raph shooting is amazing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like that art completely displays a guy who's like, I mean, I guess, and then he
Yeah.
fires an Uzi on full auto and goes, "Oh
Yeah.
shit, this is
Right.
insane!" Like,
Right.
oh my god, how many bullets can a gun fire at once?
Oh
Kind of
yeah.
thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
that I love it. Like even like the little sweat marks coming off. You know what I mean? Like like
Oh
the
yeah.
surprise.
Right.
I
Right.
love it. I love it. I
This is
think it's a
great.
great payoff
Oh
because
yeah.
they've teased the Raph used the guns like one time
Mhm.
before too.
Right.
So they set this up, and when he finally gets it, he's like, I mean, I guess, but oh my god, you know.
Mhm.
And he even says like, oh, kind of wild, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then later, like Midnight says, just snap the trigger guard off and grenades heave ho. And I don't understand why she says that so much after.
After he's done it. Yeah, I didn't get that
That's it.
either. I was curious if it was about the grenades, that if there was the trigger guard on the grenades, but I don't know. That doesn't
No, that kind of makes no sense. That
it doesn't, but that's
that
just in the
that part just makes no
context.
sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
There is no trigger. I mean, on a grenade, like it doesn't work the same way.
I understand.
There's like a
I didn't know if they were a special
yeah.
trigger guarded grenade. I don't know.
Just snap the
I'm not
trigger
very
guard off.
familiar with grenades, but it does seem like that dialogue should have been like on the last page, possibly, or above. And yeah,
The only way I can think of it, and I think this could be hard to put into a comic, is if like for some reason like that was supposed to be almost like a mocking joke. Like I can see her saying that in the tone of like he does it, and
yeah,
she's like, sure, I snap the trigger off the gun. I mean, you know what I mean? Like almost
yeah,
like that kind of like like that kind of
right,
like sure, just snap the trigger off and waste all the bullets or
Mhm.
something like that, where
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, I guess that's how a turtle uses a gun, almost like a kind of like a jab.
Yeah,
Or like a judgment or a judgy kind of thing.
yeah.
But I don't understand why that's there.
I
I
don't
don't know why, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
It does not.
But we throw grenades, and we get some kabooms, and we see the vehicles kind of lose control. It turns out that Johnny Woo Woo is in, I guess, one of those limousines that goes off of the overpass.
Yeah,
So I guess he caught back up. The comic's a little confusing on that, but she really thinks that
is.
Johnny like bites it.
she
And
does.
I saw definitely more than one limousine in this chase. I felt
Oh,
like
yeah.
earlier, so it's a little weird.
It is.
Because there's a couple limousines and there's another vehicle what looks like an SUV that's
Yeah.
also firing. Like there's
It's
like
true.
3 cars. Anyway, so they go off the edge, honestly, and like we see confirmed that Johnny Two Glocks himself is right in there when it
Yeah.
goes over the overpass.
Right.
Now it lands on the top of a truck, and there is like a, oh great, just great
Mhm.
kind of feeling. So Johnny Woo is not dead, but he is
No.
delayed.
He is.
And We see Little Mixed Media with that street sign up there.
Oh yeah.
You're on it right now, actually. Yeah. Um, we see the sign, for East Stroudsburg, Pittsburgh, I-95 exit, and they're
Hmm.
getting off there, and like we
Right.
lost them.
Yeah.
What like page am I on? I'm sorry.
You're
Okay,
on
I'm handing it over
14.
to you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you're good.
yeah. So that and that's Casey and Raph and Midnight that are going to East Stroudsburg, Pittsburgh. We
East
don't know where
Stroudsburg.
Woo Woo's going. He's on Optimus Prime, just traveling down the highway, Route
No,
66 kind of
no,
stuff.
yeah, he's like you're more than meets the eye. He's like trying to figure out like how am I gonna like turn this to my advantage? You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah. So
So yeah.
so we turn the page and we get here, let me zoom out. We get a full page splash of just all kinds of stuff on a table. And this is pretty neat. We get a cell phone, we got an ashtray with some cigarette buds, we get some keys with like some interesting keychains and whatnot. Then we see a pen, we see some death cigarettes, like a carton of those. And
Those were real cigarettes. Did you know that?
I did not. For real? That was a real cigarette brand?
Yeah, in England in the 90s, like they totally had those.
Interesting. It
Yeah.
seems so. Were they embracing the like? Were they like, we might as well just own this, that these are bad, like, and just
Yeah,
put it
absolutely.
on Front Street? Oh, okay. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Like they were just like, yeah, like if you're that into it, or if it's that cool, then
yeah,
like
they
yeah,
were gonna
like
make it cooler and put a
they're
skull
cool.
on it. That's cool. I mean, and it's all in blood too. Like the cigarettes, like the logo is just like, oh, that's so cool. But like,
Yeah, I mean they were in the middle of their time. It'd almost be like you know how, like Surge, like when Coke came out with Surge, like soda, it was they promoted it so big. It'd be like seeing like
yeah.
Surge in like a comic
Okay.
or something like that, where it'd be like,
Interesting.
yeah, like those are just a thing. But it's very interesting because I actually
It
just looked it
is.
up again to like get more information on it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it came in Death and Death Lights.
Right. Goodness,
It
that's
was marketed
wild.
to the young underground punk rock consumer market.
Oh, the young underground
They
punk
were
rock
sold.
consumer market.
They were sold via mail order, from Luxembourg to avoid the UK's excise tax.
Goodness.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and then it lost a bunch of money because
Yeah,
people don't smoke death cigarettes, and then it was over. But yeah, I don't know. Those were real, and this isn't the first time I've encountered them.
that's
They
wild.
make appearances in a lot of like old like '90s comics and '90s media for sure.
Right. Okay. Well, interesting. Well, that's on the table too, and we also have a couple of hands and these pictures that are
Oh
being
yeah,
strewn about on the
we're doing
table, doing
little crafting today,
a little bit of
working on
reconnaissance,
our
or
picture book,
yeah,
a little
exactly,
photo book.
a little reconnaissance scrapbooking, if you will, and
Little
we see.
scrapbooking. We're gonna get our little scissors that cut the little zigzag lines.
Oh
We're gonna
yeah. Oh
bring
yeah.
those out. We're gonna
Yeah. There
put
you
those
go.
together. It's great.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
fun time. So
it is.
we have someone that has a really nice gold watch on and like some white cuffs. Talk
Mhm.
about Johnny Woo Woo and showing the picture of him and saying that the two Glocks are his trademark. And whoever this other person is on the side of the table is saying, "Oh, handsome too." Like, "Oh, he's very handsome." Which I don't know. He kind of just looks like a vampire in this. Which, if that's your thing, that's cool. But like, this picture's, I don't think this is the very most flattering picture of Johnny Woo Woo. But who am I to judge?
I mean,
Nevertheless,
looks like it was taken like in real time. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like,
Like, who's doing? Is Peter Parker like taking these pictures? Because like this is like in action, like
no,
momentarily,
I bought a copy of this comic book and ripped some panels out of it. Is what it
yeah,
looks like.
that's exactly what this looks like. So this is very strange. So they're showing, whoever this one person is showing this other person all the pictures of the aftermath that has happened at the Texaco gas station and whatnot. And so then as we read on through all this text, they talk about how they found out that he, like, let's see, about 2 miles down, Kenworth picked up his limo as extra baggage, so that he went 2 miles down the road on the top of that semi. And then he killed the driver and stopped another passing car, killed those occupants, and took off towards you know, where Casey and Midnight went. So now we see that, okay, the guy that was with the nice watch, that is Mr. Choi, apparently. And that, let's see here. Let me zoom back out. Let's see. Where am I at? Here we go. So now we're seeing more of the picture, more of like what's going on. And this gets very confusing very quickly. I believe we are at the police station, and we are finding out from the chief like what's going on and like where they're at, and they're going to Philly apparently, where Johnny Woo Woo is, and that's where Casey and Midnight and Raphael are going and stuff. And so Detective Choi is so interesting because his outfit is so starkly contrasted by the rest of the comic. It's very weird, but yeah, he's kind of trying to take his own charge and just be like, all right, this is what we're doing. You call me in, I'm going to do this, and this is what I'm doing. The chief is not having it, and he's like, think again. You'll need a federal approval to cross state lines, and I'm only, I can't do it. I can only do so much, this and that. And then like there's this guy next, like on the wall, that just kind of shows up and starts smoking, and he's got glasses as if he's one of the mutants from Batman. The Dark Knight Returns. And he says, Baudet, FBI, let's go, Choi. We're going to Philly. O'Brien, you're off the case. And I think, so if that wasn't the chief, then that was O'Brien. That was another detective that was working on this case.
That was like when he goes there, yeah.
And this cracks me up. So then we see this car vrooming down the road, and somebody says, what time you got, Johnny? And Ryan, guess what time he got? Guess what time? I'll give you one guess.
Would it be midnight?
Yes.
Love that shit.
Midnight.
That's so good.
Brilliant.
I live in my headcanon where the guy riding with Johnny Woo Woo saw that it was had been waiting for the last hour for it to turn midnight, so we could ask him that.
Oh, exactly.
He's just driving in silence, and he's like, "Hey Johnny, what time is it?"
Yep. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that.
And he's like, midnight.
Yeah, midnight.
So he's like, yes.
So then I think this is Johnny Woo Woo driving, but I think he's having a flashback, if I'm not mistaken, the way the art is. And it cuts to Hong Kong, and there's this guy who is kind of a bald, bigger gentleman that is decked out in some like fancy coat, but like a lounging kind of like what do you call those things? Like a robe. There you go. And he's like smoking a cigar. He's got a well-endowed woman next to him, and just everything is very gaudy, and just like there's a lot of money and debauchery presumably going on here. And he says, look, Johnny, I know she set up the whole damn thing. Like don't be an idiot. You know better. It was all part of the setup, you fool. And he's talking about, this guy is explaining to Johnny that Midnight was a part of the sting, or the setup that happened last episode, or last issue, I should say. And Johnny Woo Woo is just totally not believing it. Like he is not.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, he's not having.
You were killing her.
He's not having any of this. And so then we get a better look at who's talking, and it's this guy right here. Yeah, that dude. And
it's Kingpin.
Yeah, it's effectively Kingpin, but not as
Hi, Kingpin.
Yeah. And he says one of those bodies that were out there in all of this stuff, like in all the stuff that happened last episode or last issue.
It was Hong Kong. I think it was the Hong Kong raid. Like I think
that happened that happened last issue.
Yeah, in the flashback.
Yes. Where she was supposedly involved, but got set up apparently. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in one of those bodies out there was this guy's son, and he believes wholeheartedly that she did it. And I trust that my sources, that they're telling me the truth. Now you got a job to do, a contract. And now what we're seeing is that this is Johnny Woo Woo getting signed up to go strike midnight, if you will. And so then he's all driving, and whoever, the artists here, like they love teeth. Like teeth are like their favorite thing. Like
We have 1 million.
just a
Like,
billion
I love
teeth.
teeth so much. I'm gonna make them have like 100 teeth in their mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is an impressive amount of teeth, and Johnny's just
It's a ton of teeth.
totally just biting his lip. Just
And they're not.
you know,
And
why
they're not always a symmetrical amount. Like if
Yeah.
you actually look at it, sometimes like right underneath the person's like nose, the dead center of their nose, there's like a tooth. Like it's not even like 2 teeth in the middle.
Yeah, no,
they want so many teeth. It's like, well, we can do an odd number of teeth, and you're like,
Right.
I don't think that's a good idea. It's like, no, we just put one in the middle. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah,
You know what I
there you
mean?
go.
Like
done.
I'd rather have 19 teeth than 18 teeth.
That's
on
true.
on top and bottom. So
Yep.
let's just do that.
Yep. What's one more?
Of what we can see.
What if it was $5 million, Ryan?
What if it was 5 million teeth?
Yeah, 5 million teeth. So, and then the predator shows up, or not the predator, alien shows up, and you think you've seen all the teeth, but then that thing comes out, and there's more teeth.
No. Yeah.
It's like teeth within teeth.
Dennis Bill for that guy.
Oh goodness.
Like, where do you want to start?
Where you want to start? So, one thing I wanted to bring up too, and I wanted to ask your thoughts on this. We see down here that we cut to Don, Raphael, Midnight, and Casey in their Jeep, and they've made it into this like kind of like red light district area of somewhere, probably in Philly. But they say Raphael, I'm assuming it's Raphael, saying key ripes, like cripes. They've said it a few times here in the book, but like this is I think my first time I've heard the like cripes, like I've heard it.
Was it you ever heard someone say cripes before?
No, I have, but I've never read it really, or at least I don't recall reading it, and it just seems very odd. Like, and I didn't know if there was anything else to it that you're gleaning, or if it's just a thing, because
this is a thing, I guess.
It's shown up a few times in the book, but this was the first time where I've seen it again, and I'm like, when you see something a multitude of times, like in the same issue, and then you start going back and being like, oh, that was there and there and there, interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Regardless, cripes, where the hell are you taking us? Is what Raphael is saying, and we got Midnight saying, a friend, I'm going to see a friend, and so it's going to be all right. But there's all kinds of stuff happening here. You got some sex on the wall. Man. You got some people throwing up. You got some bums, or some people just like getting warmed by a barrel fire. And I'm
a fan of the guy up top. I'm a fan of that cat hanging up above the XXX store.
Oh yeah, that's me too. I love
your
that.
boy's just chilling on that thing. You're like, what are you doing? He's the creepiest guy around here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's just out on a ledge somewhere. You're like,
he's
what's
just
this
lurking.
guy?
I love it. I want to know his
like
story.
Thomas Wayne out here, like just out on the ledge. You know what I mean? Like what's up with this shit?
So so she tells the guys to stop and that she's got to make a signal, and we see a gun come up to her face, and it says click, and she goes, "Get Courtney now. Lose the piece or eat it." And yeah, that, like, if I ever get a gun pulled on me, that's exactly what I'm gonna say. Get Courtney out here now.
Just slap it out of your face.
Yeah,
like
get out of here,
our buddy.
Just go. Oh, like our buddy Ryan. I forgot about that story.
He told that story to Father Preston, and I 100% believe that.
Oh, undoubtedly, yeah.
There are probably 99% of people that I'd hear like from a friend, like, oh, one time he got a gun pulled on him, he just slapped it out of his face. Yeah. He just got so mad he just slapped it out. I'd be like, I don't believe that.
Mm-mm.
This individual, I 100% believe that would happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Slapped an actual handgun out of his face.
Yeah. And see, part of me feels like I would do it too, because I'm like, here's the thing. If I die,
you do it too.
Here's the thing. I'm either going to die, or I'm going to get a really cool story out of it, or both. Like, if I die trying to slap the gun out of someone's hand, I'm still getting a cool story out of it. I'm dead though, but like, I still get the cool story. And but if I don't, then I still get the cool story and I get to live. So it's kind of a win-win in a couple of different ways.
No one's around to see it happen usually though.
Well, yeah, but I like to think that like
there's no cool story. Like,
I mean,
you're dead.
You got to roll the hard six sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Can't rain all the time.
I mean, like, obviously, if you think that you're actually going to be shot, like you think that, like, this is going to go this way, you have to try. Yeah.
Oh
Because
yeah,
point blank,
like
you're dead. So you
yeah,
get to try. But
yeah,
I think the whole way that they get you on being stuck up is the idea that they just want your thing.
oh
Like they just
yeah,
want your wallet. They just want whatever. Like they
right,
like give that up and you're free to go.
right,
So 99.999% of people are like, I just give up thing because it's not
exactly,
worth my life.
right,
Unless you're our boy and you're like, all I could think about was how much money I spent on this chain. And I
yeah,
slapped the gun out of his face. And
yeah,
then apparently said, if you're going to put that thing on my head, you better shoot it. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's about the ballingest ass thing
That
ever.
is, that is. So, well, you know, Midnight's a
Yeah.
baller too, and so, yeah, she says, "Go get
She,
Courtney."
yep.
Oh, I thought you were,
Go get Courtney.
I thought you were gonna say something. So
Oh, I was just gonna say that like what you have here is a standard case of F around and find out. It just happens
oh,
real fast.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Dude's like, gun on you, click. She's like, get Courtney or eat it. And he's
Yeah,
like, what? And she's like, now you eat it. And that's
yeah,
what she does.
it's true,
That's what she told us.
and you can count on that. So yeah, so then we we end up pushing through these guys because apparently she didn't have time for anything, waiting around for Courtney, so she just like decks this dude in the throat, and
Yep.
and then we this is pretty cool. I'm gonna show this because this is really neat. Like, just she is like adamant, like, yeah, now. I said now.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude couldn't even think. Like, he had
No,
to
she
like
has like
act
a
or
hand
nothing.
on his neck holding him down, a gun to
Yeah,
his head, and then her foot on his wrist holding the gun down. And
yeah,
it's like,
she is
or she
not
knows a
playing.
foot just on the gun actually. She's a
Yeah,
foot on the gun, and she's like, I said drop it now. He's like, okay, cool, yeah.
yeah.
Do that.
So we see
I
someone
like
from
it.
the. Oh
The
yeah, I love
art's awesome.
art is fantastic.
Yeah.
Someone says from the shadows, I heard you made it out and we're stateside. I don't think it would take you. I didn't think it would take you this long, but to get here, welcome. So yeah, then we cut to
It's
this
like,
whole, huh?
I'm familiar.
Yeah,
Nothing. I was just saying, like, they cut to dialogue that says, like, I know these people.
yeah,
Because
and
all of her dialogue is like, you still train these goons by yourself, Court?
yeah, and then we get a whole thing of like just classic like giant ass table. Full
yeah.
of full of goons and just bad dudes, just bad characters. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Quasimodo's in here somewhere. And Lord Quas,
dude, the minute you said bad characters,
And-
I heard bad characters.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's not gonna make that reference. And you're like,
Oh.
Quasimodo. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
we're going
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah,
Bad
oh,
character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you think you think I don't take those recommendations that you throw out, but I do, and I have.
Oh, I was I obviously I'm taking the piss when I say that typically, but yeah, Lord Quas though.
Lord Quas. Ooh,
If y'all haven't heard, I mean, I mean, goddamn record is like 15 years old now, but like
But still.
the further adventures of Lord Quas
Yeah,
is
and
golden.
really anything Madlib
Gold.
does is fantastic.
Anything
but-
Madlib does is golden. But there are
Lord
some
Quas
verses
is-
on the further adventures of Lord Quas. There are
Yeah.
some verses that like still kind of blow my mind. Like I'll randomly think about just the way the verse was laid out and the way that he's trading off with like him and Quasimodo, where I'm like, that's brilliant
yeah.
as hell.
Oh
like
yeah.
I would never think to do that in a million years.
Oh yeah. Well, this art is pretty cool. I like what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot of guns, an eclectic group of people, which I gotta give them credit for.
Oh yeah, no, it's a gang. I mean, there's a guy in a suit.
Oh yeah, dude in a suit right there, and
dude like kicking back, got a size 12 on the desk, probably just like chilling in a full on suit. Like, yeah, I'm here.
Oh yeah,
I'm part of the gang.
And there's what was it? There's some redneck, like roughneck kind of people back in the back.
I mean, you got like
you got
basically Teddy Roosevelt. You got Teddy Roosevelt with his hands on his belt right there, and then you've got
one of the Three Stooges.
You got one of the Three Stooges, and then you, the guy with the AK on his back. I mean, he looks like I just fought in like Verdun in like World War I. Like he's got like the tall jack boots and the whole 9 yards. Like he looks like he just came off the line somewhere.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's ridiculous. Like
so this character Courtney, which I believe is, if I'm not mistaken, is this character right here, and although he does say Christ, that's not his name. He's just saying that. He is Courtney, I believe, and I could be wrong, because the art gets a little inconsistent here. I think because unless I'm mistaken, because this guy does not look to have cornrows, but then we have this person over here that has cornrows.
that's inconsistent art.
So
that's obviously, I think, supposed to be Courtney, but all said and done.
Yeah. So we have Midnight here in this cabal of people, and she's got Casey and Raph in the background, and she's sitting up there and she's explaining to Courtney the situation, and but like she's telling him something about like they wanted her out for some key reason, but he needs more background information. He needs to know why. She's talking about how she wants to get to Sanctuary. Now, full disclosure, I didn't realize when I first read this that she was talking about an actual place, like until you started bringing it up earlier that it is an actual place. Yeah. I thought she was just using
code name
the term
for somewhere,
right?
Yeah, it's a code name for an actual place.
Yeah,
I think.
And so then this character Courtney continues to say, there are many kinds of sanctuary, my young friend. Well, we'll work something out, but Johnny's coming. It's gonna be a war. I don't want my turf to be his playground. And this next page is another full page splash, which I love this. I'm gonna show this whole thing. Hold on, let me zoom out. Mm-hmm. This is neat. Like we see Johnny Woo Woo and his hands, both robot hands, getting his guns.
Johnny 2 Glocks like ready to go. 1 Glock in the belt, 1 Glock at the hip. I mean, like it's time.
He's ready. Then we got this dude on the bottom left with like a skull like bandana, and he's got a jacket that has an American flag on the sleeve.
Yeah,
which looks badass. And then there's this dude down at the bottom that's just got an earring and is smoking. It's like, I wonder if this dude down at the bottom, like everyone else looks awesome. It's like, oh yeah, he's got robot arms and he's got an American flag jacket. What am I going to do? And he goes to Claire's and gets his ear pierced. He's like, I got my ear pierced.
He gets the starter hoop, like the one you get from there, and it's like gold. And he's like, this looks cool.
Yep.
And he shows up and they're like, what's your name? He's like Johnny 2 Rings, and Johnny 2 Glocks is like, think again.
Yep. But I love it that like everyone else is so over the top, but he shows up and he's so cool. He's just got they're like, what's your thing? Yeah. And he's looking at him from this side. He's looking
at minimal.
But he's like, he's looking at him from this side. And then they're like, what's your thing? And he goes, bling. And then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, they're blown out. And that's probably how he got in.
It's the 90s. So he has one ear pierced and someone goes, you gay?
Yeah,
like that
exactly.
Like every time, anytime he goes anywhere.
Yeah, in the 90s, that was a thing.
And then everyone argues about which ear it is that means you're gay.
Oh yeah,
and
they
no
have
one
like
knows.
It's like a whole
no one
like
knows.
They talk about it for an hour, and then they just decide.
Like, well, it's left side. Left side means you're gay, and you're like, no, dude, like, cause this actor had one in his left ear. He's not gay. And they're like, no, it's the right ear. Like, because that's basically. So I have a mole, a teeny little mole, right where my ear would be pierced, to be pierced.
Which is why you didn't pierce it.
It's teeny, but what it looks like is from more than 2 feet away. Is if you're standing right next to me, it looks like an ear piercing that doesn't have an earring in it.
Oh, okay.
It's exactly what it looks like. Yeah. So I went through elementary school and middle school.
That whole thing.
This was almost every day. Hey, you're gay. Why don't you have your earring in? And I'm like, that's a mole. No, yeah, but you're gay. And I'm like, well,
that's wild.
And then some other kid goes, no, man, it's the right ear. It's the right ear. And I'm like, I just sit there, and someone's like, "No, it's the left one because that guy was gay. He had a left one." And they argue. No one knows. So my whole thing is like, why bring it up?
See, like, I always thought it was left is right and right is wrong. That's the way that I had always remembered hearing it, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah, that's the way that I always.
So right meant you were gay.
Yeah, left is right and right is wrong.
Nobody knew, dude. Yeah, Nobody. They didn't have that.
Yeah,
they didn't have that little mnemonic. They didn't have that. People were just guessing. They're like, no, man, but like George Michael had that. No, he had both ears pierced. It was that. and the whole time, I love it. I love it because it's the court of public opinion. They're having a genuinely debate about whether I'm gay or not.
Right, of course. Like, it doesn't matter if you are or not.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not excused.
Right.
Like, I'm not excused from like the trial. It's happening.
Yes.
I'm just on the witness stand. Like,
yeah,
this is dumb. And they're like, yeah, we're trying to figure out if you're gay or not.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like
this is
it's
the
still
only
going
way
to
to
end
tell.
with you making fun of me.
Yeah.
But it's still going to end with you making fun of me.
Yeah.
Like,
Either way.
if you, yes, but yeah, it was just on one,
Yeah. See,
and yeah, people just wouldn't stop.
yeah. Yeah. See, I didn't have the ear piercing thing. I just told everybody, including men, that I loved them. And the youth pastors at my church had a meeting with my parents to be like,
Awesome.
"We think your son's gay," and I was like,
"That's awesome." And you're like, "Well,
just because I can
I learned it from the good book."
Yeah, just because I can say that I love people and Jesus kissed dudes on the cheek, I mean, that doesn't mean I.
Oh, sure.
You know. But nevertheless, I don't care if it makes y'all feel awkward. Then I'm gonna keep doing it. But anyway,
great.
Yeah. But what else is great, Ryan, is the club that. So we find out here on this page, like that. The club that Johnny Two Guns, Johnny Two Rings, and Johnny American Flag.
Johnny Two Glocks, please. Two Glocks.
Oh, what did I say? Two Guns? Two Glocks.
Yeah,
I apologize.
They're Glocks by name.
And then and then Johnny Star Spangled Sleeves. They show up at Club Dead. Now, this is cool as hell. This is look at this. That is a noose right there. That is insane. Yeah. That like
Club Dead.
There's something about this that's just like very interesting
pretty
to me.
Intense.
Yeah, I like it, but it just the fact that because a noose is such a stark like
it is
image.
It is
regardless.
It is.
And yeah, but that's I don't know. There's something about that page that just kind of
what it is, man.
And then I think you have this outfit on the left, not the red dress. You might have that, but I know that you definitely have this green get up that this guy over here is wearing.
It's like a green smoking jacket kind of thing, that I wear. And it has a green fez, but he's not wearing that part.
No, he's not. But
I guess he didn't accessorize.
He did not.
But yeah, typically, I've got something smoking come out of my mouth, and I have those sunglasses too.
Exactly. Yeah. So that could have been you. But nevertheless, there's this giant bodyguard outside of Club Dead, and he's just like looking at Johnny Woo Woo coming in and being like, what are you gonna do? And so Johnny Woo Woo goes up and talks to this dude, and he's like, the bodyguard calls him a jerk. He's like, "Hey, jerk off, invite only. Like you can't just walk in here." And Johnny Woo was like, "Oh, okay, and he blasts the dude through his face, just straight out.
I got my invitation right here. Johnny pulls one of his Johnny Two Glocks out and blows his head off, and that's how we start this whole thing.
Exactly, and just guns a-blazing, and just totally, just everything. And so then we get this image, which is really cool, and it's Johnny Woo Woo just going through everybody inside this club, just annihilating them. And this is again some of that mixed media with the the Altered Earths. Yeah, that stuff. That's what this is, and this looks fantastic. Like.
Yeah, you see a lot of the effects, like a lot of the quote quasi digital airbrush around the border of his jacket, especially. Yeah, like that's where you see it the most.
Like right in here.
Depth of there. Look on the bottom of it. Like go down a little bit. Oh God, well, not that guy.
Sorry, a little too far.
That bottom line.
Yeah.
See that bottom line of him? That feathered white airbrush line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, it is panel lining, of course, of a way. It's like the outside edging. But they do it with the digital airbrush. And you have a lot of effects like of some digital stuff of like depth of field, a little depth of field. Like there's a little blurring. I believe I see some blurring in the background of the people that he's shooting into.
Oh yeah.
And it just gets shown off.
It does. It's pretty fantastic.
The white airbrushing around the guy in the bottom left corner who's smoking with the glasses.
Yeah.
The white kind of haze around his smoke.
Oh yeah.
That's that digital airbrush. It's pretty cool. Like
definitely.
I said, I love seeing the early integration of digital coloring. I think it's really cool.
Oh, me too.
And this has a rich legacy going back to Mirage Volume 2 as well. So
So Johnny Woo Woo, he's running in and he's blasting, and he manages to jump behind the bar, and after a while they light the bar up, all the people that haven't been shot in this background shot. Eventually one of the dudes is like, "Hey, hold it, I think we got him, hold on." And then no, everyone's quiet, and they hear a click, and they're like, "Oh
Yeah.
snap! Shoot some more!" And yeah, then that's whenever they realize he's still there. He's still gonna get him. And yeah, so then somebody runs in and they're all bloodied up, like just they've been blasting a dude. And yeah, some wacko shooting up the place. I think we got him, and then of course you got Midnight saying Johnny, and that's inevitably who it
Oh yeah,
is ends
she's
up being.
just really worried about Johnny. Yeah.
And so we get in. We're here. This is the room where Midnight was meeting with Courtney and the rest of the people. And so they say, grab your iron. We'll get you through the roof. And yeah, so Courtney tells more of his goons to just like get back downstairs and make sure he's wasted. Like make sure that like he doesn't get up here, and then meet me in 2 hours. You know where, and like. Hold up, like nothing could, like they're saying like nothing could have lived through that, like Johnny Woo Woo has to be dead, like there is no way. And then we see this, and it is a what's the word you said? Augmented.
Augmetic.
Hand. We see an augmetic hand throwing a pin and a grenade, and the dreaded continued next issue, and that is body count number 2, my friends. Yeah. So there's that. Now, I don't know. I kind of liked this one. I liked it a lot better than I liked the first issue, I feel like.
Agreed.
This one,
agreed.
Yeah, this one had a lot more movement, and it wasn't so, there was something about it that just, I guess it's because it was giving you a little bit more meat on the bone. Also, I love exploding gas stations. Like, that's why almost all of my favorite video games have that. And it's just a thing that, just really speaks to me. And there, but other than that, it just, I don't know. It just felt better than the first issue. And you know what it could have been, actually? Like, and this feels pretty dumb saying this now that I just realized this. It could be because this issue actually actively features a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in it. And that could be why I enjoyed it more, because Raphael, was more of my point of view character, like the unwilling, is that right? The unwilling passenger, I guess, where you're just along for the ride and then you're just reacting and stuff. And that's kind of how, or at least to me, like that's where I drew to Raphael. I guess you could also draw to Casey in that line of symmetry for your point of view, but it gave that a little bit more of a stake in this, and I appreciated that, and it seems to have resonated with me. And like as we went through it again, that I did enjoy this a little bit more than the previous issue. But how about you? What do you think about this issue?
Oh, I think I have to echo your thoughts. I really liked it more than the first issue, and mainly because the first issue was just like welcome to the craziness, bro. Like what I mean? It was very light on story. It was just like Midnight shows up, Johnny Woo Woo comes to kill her, Casey and Raph are stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah,
that's the whole story. It was a book full of the art and the feels and the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like this book more, I think, because we're telling more story. And the art is gelling well with that. Like I've never been the biggest fan of like English counterculture art. I can appreciate it, but it's never been like my go-to look. But here it didn't feel as wild because it felt kind of like Dark Knight Returns, where there is some of that feel to it, and especially in the humans that you see, just the citizens look like this, like they just look grody and crazy.
Yeah.
But I do like it because it's telling a story and giving the feel, and that's just the environment, right?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel here. Now you got stories, things are moving, things are happening. Oh, and the world looks and feels like this. I'm down. Right. You know what I'm saying? Versus like maybe issue 1, because some people kind of said like online and stuff that I might have been a little hard on the first issue, just saying like, well, it is a product of its time, basically. Like, you're kind of downing it for being, mid 90s image and it being like English, but like with the English feel, but that's what it is. So like, okay, like, kind of almost like New Drink a little bit. Like you've been old drinking this comic, like let's New Drink it. And honestly, I just we just had to wait until the story got moving more, because now I'm
Yeah.
totally on board.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm really looking forward to the next issue. Our cool uncle provided the letter section, and I don't want to go on a really long time about this at the back,
Hmm.
but it's kind of all written by Eric Larson, and it's just kind of funny because there's just two letters,
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
which basically has a guy, basically like giving his history of like how he got into the Turtles when they
Hmm.
were the cartoon, and what does he say? After the Turtles of the early 90s, plush dolls, t shirts, plastic figurines with pizza throwing action, kitty turtles, mutating turtles, turtles meet vanilla ice, and that wacky multi dimensional portal thing. All I can say is thank you.
Oh.
So it's this kid basically saying, yeah, like I got into this, but now I'm in high school. I'm
Yeah.
reading, like, I went back and read Mirage. Now I'm reading this, and like,
Hmm.
thank you. Because I
Yeah.
knew the Turtles were better than like a new episode every week, and it doesn't mean anything, basically.
Right.
Like, I
Right.
knew that they're better than the animated series. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and he does say one thing. He says, "Hey, like, if you considered, um, if you know, if he does say one thing. He's kind of like, so are you? There's a rumor you're going to kill off a main character,
Oh, right. I did
like,
read this one. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and is there any truth to that? And I just want to say that if it's Splinter, then you need to have him be killed by one of his sons, as prophesized in Volume 2.
Right.
And they come back, and and it's funny because he kind of says like, well, I don't, like, obviously I want to change things up. And it was all Eric Larson,
Hmm.
who we know from Savage Dragon and all this
Hmm.
stuff, and obviously a big guy at Image. He's like, obviously I can do kind of whatever I want, but everything's gonna be Kevin and Peter approved, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't buy these turtles. They're on loan, and I'm writing for him,
Right.
and
Right.
I could just have them taken away from me too if
Hmm.
I screw up. So like,
That's wild.
I'm trying to give my best treatment, but like, yeah, don't make
Yeah.
a mistake. I'm not like making canon decisions. That's still
Hmm.
Kevin and Peter, because it's their IP. But the reason
Yeah.
I was chosen for this job was because, like, I love the Turtles, I love the story, and I want to advance it. And I don't mind burning some old bridges and like doing some new stuff, obviously, because you can see the results. But I'm not
Hmm.
looking to, like, I won't screw it. I won't do anything Kevin and Peter wouldn't do. Basically, is
Yeah.
what he says, which
Yeah.
is a very interesting result. Um, it's really cool. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to see like these people kind of writing in. I mean, really based off the first issue. Like,
Yeah.
they saw it, and some people wrote in like, "Hey man, like, this is really cool. I'm just a little worried, maybe, like,
Right. Right.
because it's not a mirage." And he's just all this stuff. But yeah, like,
Yeah. It is neat.
this one guy wrote. This one guy wrote and said something like, "What did he say?" He said something that Eric Larson literally quoted. He's like, "I'm excited about this new start you're doing for the Turtles, but also a little bit worried.
Hmm.
I've been following the Turtles for quite a few years now, and I don't know if you're gonna do something with them that Kevin and Peter wouldn't have done."
Right.
I'm sorry. It sounds like you've like read this or something. Like,
I did. I did. I did read this. No, I know where you're
oh,
going with
okay.
it. That it's cool. I like what he said because he gives it. He talks about I can't recall off the top of my head, but keep going. Keep going.
I was gonna read it.
I know.
It's just funny because the way he echoes it. Like, I just wanted them to know about it,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
he says something like, da, 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 da,
He talks
okay,
about. He
so
says. So he talks about. I'm not having any character development and having X Cup women's superhero books, like
yeah, that's it. That's what I was
yeah,
gonna read.
and that I'm like X Cup super. Oh my goodness! And I was like, yeah, that's a
Yeah, I'm
thing.
worried
That's
he says, you're going to generate the Turtles into one of those one battle per issue, no character development X Cup women superhero books.
hmm.
And then Eric Larson says, "Oh man, degenerating the Turtles into one of those one battle per issue is no character development X Cup women superhero books was my number one priority for the book.
Yeah,
Now I've got to
yeah,
think of something else."
yeah.
I don't know, I thought that was funny.
It
But
was. It
yeah,
was. But
yeah. It's kind
what
of cool.
what?
It's just kind of cool, like, for me to dig in. Like I always love the letter sections, especially here, because
Oh yeah.
there's such a big change in the air, and you got to get, like, once gigs we're up, we're on the journey. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to put ourselves in the shoes. Like, this
Oh
is like the
yeah.
second issue of the first true originating issue of Mirage.
Hmm.
And then you read this book and you look in the backup, and here in the back section, you're like, oh man, like, other people feel the same way. Like, people are like, oh, this is
Oh,
cool, but also,
definitely.
like, I gotta admit, like, it going to, like, because even at the time, the Eric Larson basically says, like, yeah, we are a big company. Like,
Hmm.
we're number 3, and in certain times number 2.
Yeah.
Like, Like we sometimes beat Marvel and DC for sales in
Yeah.
given a month or whatever. So like, like we are big. Like you kind of admitting that, like, yeah, like you're not wrong to think like, oh, they're going to a big company. We are a big company,
Right.
absolutely.
Exactly. Oh
But
yeah.
like like, but we also like we care about the artists, and we
Mhm.
care about the IP, and Image has continued that,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
into today, like
Definitely.
creator controlled stuff, and
Mhm.
that's cool. But yeah, no,
Oh,
I like the
absolutely.
issue a lot. I'm really excited about moving through body count and getting into image proper.
Oh, me too. And one thing before we cut out, but yeah, the you were talking about the art and how you were giving a hard time or whatever, but like the thing is that it really it's very evocative of the seediness and just like
Yeah,
just how grody and disgusting a lot of like the crime like underworld can be. And it very
absolutely.
much pulls you in and makes you feel that way while you're reading it. Like I feel gross having read it, but I still
Uh huh.
enjoyed it. But that was an element of it. And
Yeah.
the Mirage had a lot of that in it too. So I can see where people were like, oh, they're going to Image. I'm kind of concerned about that. But because Image, like you were saying, like they were separate because that's the whole thing. They wanted to be more about the artist, but nevertheless, you can't take you can take the boys away from the big two, but you can't take the big two out of out of the boys. You know what I'm saying? So
The big boys.
out of the big boys. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of the comic
Yeah. No,
tropes
like
that still happen in
yes,
there, and so
yes.
it's a
Image
valid
books had,
concern.
yeah, like Image had those books. Like
Right,
that the angle is not like that person saying like, oh, like you won't be like Marvel or DC, right?
right.
Like he's basically also saying, and you also won't do kind of what you do with a lot of your other books, which is battle babes and
Mm-hmm.
one fight an issue, and they're all fight
Yeah,
issues, and no one cares. Which he's
right.
kind of commenting on like Liefeld's work and like other work that
Yeah,
was like just kind of all action, no story.
right.
So I think that Eric treats it fair. Like he
Mm-hmm.
treats the criticism as fair, and
Yeah,
gives a rather lengthy response about why this will be different, and how he understands that, because it's a fair accusation to level at Image. They
yeah.
are a big company and they sell a ton of like
Mm-hmm.
the only way you're out selling Marvel or DC on any given month is
Right.
if you've got the big battle babes with the X cups and I mean
I,
honestly,
I
like
mean,
that's what they sold a lot of back then. A ton of that.
you still got to play the game. Like you
You
can
got
play
you
it
playing the
differently,
game.
which they did,
Yeah.
but you still got to play the game. And
Yeah,
so, yeah.
absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for listening,
Yeah.
everyone. What did you think of this
Mm.
episode or this issue? Did you enjoy where the journeys continued? Are you liking the art? Or are you not? Do you say cripes at all? Let us know.
Cripes?
Do you have what's the word again? Augmatic, aug aug
Augmetic.
augmetic. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it one of these
Yep.
days. Do you have augmented
Just
gun arms? 2 of them? Let us know.
augmented.
We want to know.
Yes.
Email us at turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. That's the hotline. You can let us know anything you want to there. You can send it to
Oh
us
yeah.
or ask us anything there. And you can do that there. You could also leave comments down below. We respond to those as well. And we sincerely appreciate everyone who's done all of that. You can find us on the internet, turtlesoupshow.com. All of our episodes are up there. You can listen to, and it's pretty neat. Then let's see, what else is there? It's been a minute since we've done this. There's a Facebook
There's a
group.
Facebook group. We got a
Tons of
Facebook group, which is
all
people
the
are always posting in
Turtletarians.
there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun in
Honestly,
there.
you want the quick jump on news. Like honestly, like we're kind of like the day old bread store when it comes to news, because we only do the episode once a week, so we kind of collate all the news. But like a lot of our movers and shakers in the Facebook group, they're constantly, especially with toys. They're like
Right.
every toy league.
Yeah.
And it's like that's nice.
It is. It is very nice. So
Absolutely love the Facebook presence.
yes, and then we have the Instagram Turtle Soup Show with the underscores between each word, and yeah, then I feel like I'm gonna keep forgetting something. But if you haven't liked and
We're
subscribed,
live on YouTube.
please do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
subscribe on YouTube. Do that.
that helps us out tremendously. And be sure to tell others about us that you think might enjoy the show, because the more numbers we get,
Yeah.
it just, I don't know, just helps us out. It's pretty cool. So having said all that, if you want to go the extra mile, you can go to patreon.com, find that Turtle Soup's been making a podcast, and you can throw some pennies our way. We got some cool swag for y'all and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of cool things to be found up there. So that's that. And yeah, next time we see y'all, we should be doing issue 3 of Body Count, if I'm not
Of course.
mistaken. So that's
See
where
you
we're
next
going on the
week.
journey. So until then, else time.
Else time.